No, I'm from New York, but I live in the neighboring state in New Jersey, so I'm on the East Coast.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you were Pacific Central.
Oh, yeah, no. I actually used to live in California. My oldest daughter was born in Los Angeles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Beautiful. Damien, welcome. Bridget, welcome, welcome, welcome. People are joining from all over the world. I know Bridget is in the UK. Damien, I think Damien is in France, right, Damien? You can, guys, if you could just, put in the chat where you're joining from, that would be amazing. I'm based in Boston. Hi, hi, welcome. I'm from the UK. Amazing. Yes, beautiful. All right. And if you could, what is it? Southern California, France. Amazing, beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where in France, Damien? Is it Southern France? No. Near Naples. Oh, got it. Okay. I visited France a year ago. It was such a beautiful trip. I fell in love. It's so beautiful there. So, all right. Still have a minute or so. Mountain. Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Hmm. I expect to have about 50 people joining us today. So we'll give another minute or so to for other people to join. Can you hear me well? Just checking my sound, everything amazing. All right. I'm excited about this. We have a lineup of amazing speakers joining us today. This promises to be powerful, amazing, heart opening, eye opening, beautiful event. We'll go for about 3.5 hours. All right, Stephanie, welcome, welcome. All right, why don't we start? It's 11 a.m., well, almost 11 a.m. here in Boston. Venus, welcome, my friend. Amazing. More people are joining. This is exciting. Stephanie, welcome. Yeah, I would love to see your beautiful faces. So if you could turn on your cameras, it would be amazing to say hello, to see your beautiful eyes and smiles. Hi, Dirk. So good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Rosabelle. Oh, beautiful. You're joining from Canada. Venus is in Houston. Dirk is in South Africa. We have the whole globe joining us today. All right, why don't we start? This is recording. Yes, welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to the power of heart centered leadership. I want to take this time to acknowledge and recognize each and every one of you for investing your valuable time and energy and showing up today for this very important step in our collective evolution. And that is the evolution of our heart consciousness. My name is Tatiana Ivanova, and I'm a purpose and soul alignment mentor for women entrepreneurs and founder of the Purpose to Profit Academy and the Global Energetic Charity. I have been helping purpose driven entrepreneurs around the world to launch and grow their businesses in alignment with their highest purpose and their highest vision. So I'm excited to welcome you to this heart activating event today, the power of heart centered leadership. Welcome. You see, as a collective, we are going through a big transition now. We are transitioning from mind, ego, fear consciousness, and we are being called to really connect to our hearts and lead our businesses from this beautiful space of our heart. It is through our heart space we can connect to the highest identity of who we are. It is through our heart we really recognize why we're here and what's possible for us. It is through our hearts we can connect to that power of love and lead our businesses from the place of acceptance, collaboration, unity, oneness, and love. So, the old ways of leading our businesses are really outliving themselves. And these are wired in competition, power, control, dominance, dominating the market. And we are really being called to tune inward, to tune with it, to really connect to our hearts and realize that everything that we're looking for is not outside of us, but within. We're being called to really connect to that highest essence of ourselves, our highest identity, and lead our businesses, lead our purpose driven businesses from that powerful and meaningful space. So I'm excited to welcome you to this amazing event. Are you excited? Are you ready? Yes, to activate the power of your heart. Amazing. I love that. I love that. So, a couple of housekeeping items. We will have 7 amazing speakers joining us. And I encourage you to stay active, engaged, to ask questions. We will have a Q&A quick section at the end of each talk. I encourage you to take advantage of all the gifts each speaker has prepared for you. So I'll be dropping the links for you to download. If you could turn your cameras on so we can see your beautiful face and say hello, that would be amazing. I will be sharing with you the 7 keys to unlock the power of your heart. So stay tuned. If you want to grab a journal and a pen, make sure you have that because you will be receiving so many amazing insights and golden nuggets and ahas during this amazing event. Yes, and why don't we start? I am super excited to welcome to our virtual stage our first speaker, Danielle McGrath. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you for having me. And just as the universe would have it, we have some landscapers outside mowing the lawn. Can you hear that behind me? I hope not. But I thought, of course,
Of-
perfect timing.
I know, no, we can't hear you. We can
Okay,
only hear your beautiful voice. Thank you for
awesome.
joining us.
Yeah.
Could you please tell us about yourself, Danielle?
Yeah, so I've been in the healing art space, having done yoga and energy work. I had an energy medicine practice for a long time, and I worked a lot on mindset, manifestation, specifically around money. So I'm a master manifester. I've manifested a failed marriage, food stamps 3 times. I've manifested. Car repossessions, multiple, and my grand finale as a single mama was to manifest homelessness. And I thought, what am I not getting right? Has anyone ever done money manifesting work and thought, what am I doing wrong here? Why is this not working the way that I want it to work? And so, with that, I found somatic work, and I went to school. I became a somatic therapist and coach, and really started to understand that mindset alone is very incomplete, right? Unless we bring it into the body, unless we upgrade cellularly and integrate it into our system, our nervous system, and our body system, we can't really just from a conscious mind create much of anything. And so I went from poverty and well educated, but poverty. I have a master's degree, and I did everything I was supposed to do to become successful, and that didn't work. To building a $500,000 business and growing. And I believe money is a spiritual tool and teacher. And so it's been quite a journey from that place to a place of deep heart centered connection of myself and understanding that when we connect deeply to our own wisdom and our own power, our own voice, our own heart, that is when everything begins to shift. Did you want me to just go
Beautiful.
right?
Yeah, just go
Yeah,
right in. I know
go
you have
right into
prepared
it.
something very juicy for all of us. So the stage
Yeah.
is yours, my friend.
Okay, great. So what I'd like to do, oh, Yvonne says that's so me. So Yvonne, you understand. Okay. Are we still good with the background noise? Is okay? We're good? Okay, great. So I think what I'd like to start. So I am, does anyone know the Red Tent? The book The Red Tent. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite books. Well, I many years ago became a Red Tent women's group facilitator. And one of the things I do on retreat, and one of the things that I do in my own work, is I open the space with a heart activation. And what happens is um, if you've ever experienced trauma, which we've all experienced some level of trauma in our lives, what happens is we go into protection, right? We go into, whether we know it or not, we automatically um, go into this protection around our heart, and we bring this veil or this shield, or we wear a social mask of persona to keep everything and everyone at arm's length, because we have to protect ourselves. And so what I'd love to do, and I'm so grateful for Tatiana for inviting me to kick it off with you. I'd like us to go from protection to connection. So that way we open ourselves up to all of the wisdom from all of the speakers, for your own divine flow of connection and inspiration. And we move in a way that feels very heart centered and connected. So that way we're not spinning up here in our minds, but really opening ourselves up from this deepest part of ourselves. So let's begin. So if you could just get comfortable, just get into a comfortable seated position or lie down, whatever feels right for you. And just begin to let the eyes, if it's available to you, flutter closed. Settle into your body. Uncross any arms or legs. Just really allowing ourselves to open ourselves up. Feel whatever you're sitting on or laying on coming up to greet you. So you don't have to put any extra effort in pressing or pushing, but you get to just be held in this moment. It's safe for you to be held in this moment. Then just take a moment, drop the shoulders from the ears, release the jaw, take the tongue from the top or the roof of the mouth and let it just sort of lay in your mouth, relaxed. Just begin to be witness to your breath, the quality of your breath. Noticing the quality of your inhale and your exhale. Notice if you're holding your breath. Maybe putting one hand on your heart, another hand on your womb space, your sacral or your belly. Feeling just that little bit of warmth or pressure from your hands pressing into your body, reminding you that this is where your wisdom lies. This is where your fullness of expression, creation is. And then you're just bringing your attention to your heart center, noticing the size of your heart center. Maybe it's the size of your heart. Is it right now the size of a golf ball or a baseball, or is it a bowling ball in there? What's happening in your heart space? And with every exhale, just noticing it getting larger. Maybe there's a color, a temperature, a sensation. And with every exhale, just all of that flooding the cells of your being, expanding outward, creating almost a bubble around you. And there's nothing you have to do, you just have to breathe. Every exhale just makes it expand larger and larger, filling up your room of where you're sitting in, filling up your house, filling up the neighborhood, your street, your community, your town, filling up the state that you live in, filling up your country, filling up the globe, the whole world. Just seeing that energy that is so needed. Just your love, your compassion, your deep connection to your work, your calling. Trusting it, leaning into it. And a beautiful mantra, all is good here and now. All is good here and now. The power of your presence in this heart opening activation. Shared with all. Creates a vortex, creates an energy, creates a space where deep healing can occur, not only for us individually, but collectively. And then allowing us to stay in this open connection, this compassionate, loving space, knowing that we can trust it. We can trust ourselves, we can trust each other, we can trust guidance of source, spirit, God, universe to lead us, that we are open to the downloads and the inspiration and the creations, that we can be safe in our full expression, in our full wisdom, our full power, our full true identities. And we are just conduits and channels of all of that beauty and greatness. And when you're ready, take a deep inhale and a complete exhale, allowing yourself to trust and be safe in this opening. Begin to bring some movement to fingers and toes, coming back into the room, back into your body, opening your eyes when it feels right for you. Yeah. And so this is how we'll move today, in complete presence, right? In complete presence of all is good here and now. There's nowhere you have to be, nothing you have to do. This is the potent power of your creation. So, just as Tatiana said, as leaders, I work with women as a majority, and leadership is changing across the board. There is less of a call to be a leader based on external proof, but more of those soft skills that take a lifetime to master around trusting ourselves, being in total discovery, creating mastery of our faith, right? Healing the wounds of betrayal or feeling hurt or feeling like we can't trust ourselves. And the majority of women that I work with come because they've done all the work, right? They've said, I've done all the work. I've done so much inner work, or I've done so much coaching, and still I don't have what I want. Still, it's not quite what I want. Why am I still struggling? Mostly financially, right? Why is the money still not coming in? Where are the clients? Where are these leads, right? And so the idea of being a leader, the bigger you're meant to be, the bigger your message, the bigger you're called to step into faith. The bigger you are called to be in total faith and in total trust and allow yourself to be in the mystery of it all as you connect deeply to the heart and be in this presence and share from there. So, a lot of my work revolves around embodiment. And has everyone do a lot of mindset work, or has anyone done mindset work specifically around money? When we, yeah. So, what happens is a lot of times we feel called from this heart-centered place to bring our work into the world. And maybe you're a coach, or you're a healer, or you are a thought leader in your own right, and you have so much wisdom to share. And yet, when it comes to the business part of this work, it sort of starts to feel like we disconnect, we lose ourselves, we sort of come out of ourselves. And it is there that we it's where we then per- embrace this idea of persona. Who do I be? Who do I need to be? What should I be? Who should I be in order to make the money? Right? And so the idea of we're all wired for safety, connection, and belonging. And then for some reason, when it comes to money, we lose all those parts of ourselves and we start to constrict and conform to ideas outside of us of what we think we should do and be in order to make money. Well, money, because that is my jam, right? Is this idea of I want you to actualize your gifts into gold, into real money, because it is just a trade of your invisible gifts, which is your superpower, into the material. It's like an alchemy. It's like there is this energetic exchange of, I am going to offer you this invisible gift that I have of channeling, of being a conduit, of sharing my download, of sharing all the things that I've learned, my wisdom. And in exchange, we are going to alchemize that into a physical material thing, money. And with that, I can eat and I can pay my bills. And because I can do that, I allow myself to stay connected deeply to my mission, to my message, and to my calling. And so, part of what we want to do is we want to rewire these ideas around money where we can wire ourselves for wealth. We can be in a state where we can create expansion. You know, everyone loves to talk about expansion, but I'm going to tell you, it's very scary to expand, right? For most of us, expanding means coming into a new identity or a closer aligned identity of who we know is internal, but not being always feeling sure that we can express that and that we will be received because we are wired for belonging. So if we become if we put ourselves out there in this heart-centered way, there's fear of rejection, there's fear of we don't belong, there's fear of people don't understand us, there's fear of, oh my gosh, maybe we're not that leader we thought we were in the first place. Where did I get that idea anyway? And so I would love for you to take away this idea of that you coming back to yourself, that presence, right? This idea of coming back is the doing. It is the new doing, right? You being in constant actualizing of self is the doing that will create a portal of prosperity that you will never have to abandon yourself in order to enjoy and reap the benefits financially, in fulfillment, in creation, in connection. So I'm going to just pause there. I don't know. I'm not keeping time, so I don't want to, and I don't want to go over, but I would love to answer any questions that you have. And I'm happy to do some even hot seat coaching around whatever's going on with you, because I truly believe that when most people are talking money and mindset and financial fulfillment, just like as Rosabelle was saying, yes, mindset is so incomplete that we start to go, but how do I embody? How do I create? How do I get into that feeling? Well, your subconscious mind is the feeling mind. If you are neglecting your subconscious mind, your feeling state, you're only operating from the conscious, right? And the conscious mind is a thinking mind. Most of us are overthinking and we're trying to solve problems with our thinking mind that only our feeling mind can solve, that only the subconscious can create, right? From there. So, is there anyone that has any questions around this idea of moving into embodiment, of creating more money in presence, of being able to move in a way where this is where leadership is taking us?
Yes, if if you guys have a question, please put it in the chat. But for now, Danielle, so we're talking about embodying wealth and abundance, right? So
Mhm.
we are talking about energy and mastering the being. So we're moving from the doing really into the being, which is 80% of our results, which is the inner game, right? So if you could share with us, what is the process of transition from doing into being and being wealth and abundance now? Not in
Yeah,
the future, but now.
yeah. So one of the things that I like to use is what I call somatic anchor. And so when you so let's say you make $50,000 a year right now. Let's just say. That is really what your set point is, right? So that's really internally where you somatically feel safe, where your nervous system feels safe, right? And so if you were to actually drop in, right? Just drop into your heart, drop into your body, excuse me, and you were to think about the number that you'd like to be making, what number would that be? Excuse me, I'm just getting over being sick, so I appreciate your patience with me. So, perfect. Is that $100,000? 80,000 per month. Great. $100,000. Great. Awesome. Beautiful. 25,000 a month. Awesome. Okay. Now, your conscious mind says that's how much money I want to make. You have an idea. You have an idea of what it will feel like when you're making that much money. Otherwise, why would you want to make that much money? What's the difference? It's the feeling that you're after, not necessarily the result that you're after. And so what we want to do is and we're going to go through the somatic anchor piece. What you're going to do is I want you to close your eyes if it's available to you. And I want you to feel into the feeling, the sense of $80,000 a month, 75,000, 25,000 a month, right? Where in your body, in your physical body, lights up or calls your attention with that number? Okay, beautiful. Throat. Anybody else? Heart. Beautiful. Okay. So you can continue to put down where in your physical body you're feeling that. Okay. Now, what is the sensation that you experienced that invited you to bring your attention there? What is the sensation that you experienced? Okay, so there was like a flow of energy, an energy flow. Okay, so maybe it was a vibration. Okay, great. Flutter, right? A flutter, joy. There was a sense of joy. There was, ooh, activation, right? So there was like an awakening, right? There was like, ooh, there's something here that wants to move. Beautiful. Underneath that sensation, relief. Oh, that's a great one. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of times we try to go from poverty feeling, a sense of lack, or to joy, and sometimes that's not available to us. But the feeling of oh, relief is always a great one. It's how I started feeling that feeling of relief was my first sensation. Underneath that sensation, what is the emotion that you're experiencing? What is the emotion under the feeling? Or under the sensation? What is the so underneath that flutter of excitement, right? Underneath that flutter, what's the emotion? Yeah, relief. Beautiful. Joy. Right. Beautiful. Fear. Yeah. So typical and normal, right? Acceptance. Amazing. Relief mixed with tension, right? It's sort of like this push pull. I want it, but but what has to change if I get it? Right? It's almost like I'm not used to that constriction, that contraction. It's like, right? Can I hold this much pleasure? Can I even do I have the capacity to hold this much pleasure? Okay, so here's what I want to tell you. You don't really want the money. It's not the money. It's this feeling that you're after to feel in every moment of your presence. It is this feeling that you're after. And the more you can tap into this feeling, which is now your somatic anchor. So you go into the throat, you feel the flutter, then you're experiencing the joy. You're anchoring into that. And you start to practice using that anchor and holding it for as long as you can every single day, in every moment of every day. You start to build a capacity to hold more pleasure, to hold more of that, because normally we can't hold that because we're such in a habit of lack. We're such in a habit of feeling the worry. We actually, I think a lot of us think the more I worry, the less, and the more, and this was me for a long time. It was almost like the more pressure I put on myself, the more I felt like I won't drop the ball. I'll stay in action. And as long as I stay in action, maybe I'll get the thing. Right? And so this is what we want to do. And so really it's about, can you hold, right? Can you hold this for a longer and longer period of time? Because the more you have presence with this experience and this feeling, the money will then catch up.
Amazing. This is so powerful. I am so happy and excited that you're kicking off this event.
I love
I
that.
love it. I love it. Danielle, if you could please tell us where can people find you so they can work with you? I know you have a special gift for us. Could you mention about that as well?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I created a a morning money activation, and it is an activation, right? It is something to help you feel more connected to yourself and activated around these emotions and this feeling. And so you can sign up, and then you'll get all of my emails and updates and programs and workshops and anything that I do. I'm also on Instagram, and my website is my name. It's just daniellemargraf.com. So you can always check me out on my website if you'd like to learn more about me and my work.
Amazing. We have one last question. It's coming from Sharon. How do
Sure.
you move from worry to joy?
Yeah. So, are you guys familiar with the emotional guidance scale, the energetic system, right? And so, Sharon, are you familiar with that, with the energy emotional guidance system and the scale and the frequency of that? Because what we know is that if we were to use frequency as an example, right? We know that the worry is low on the chart, right? It's really in survival. We're really in survival in that worry. And what we want to do is we want to move up the chart, and it's joy is on top of the chart. So to try to think that we were going to move from the lowest part of the chart almost, right? Shame is really the lowest, but on the low part, all the way to the top is a heavy lift. It's a heavy lift. It's like saying I'm going to make I want to go from making $1,000 a month to $100,000 a month like that. It's not to say that it's possible, but you might not have the capacity to hold that much. It's very similar to how lotto winners they get all that money and then they lose all the money because they don't have the capacity to hold it. They don't have the capacity to hold that energy, right? And so what we want to do is we want to go from, say, worry, right? And then we want to start feeling what's above worry that you can get to. Can you get one of the greatest things is relief. Can you go from worry to relief? How do you go from worry to relief? Well, you start to think about, oh my gosh, it's available to me right now. If I stay in this presence moment and tap into this feeling and I tap into this somatic anchor and I connect deeply to my heart and I go, oh my gosh, everything that I want wants me. Everything is happening for me. Can I move it? Yes, but not around money. Yes. And that is the rewiring piece because money typically represents feelings of I'm not worthy or I'm not deserving, or there's a big story around money. And so we want to start operating in this idea of feeling. And then eventually we want to rewire that around money. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, beautiful. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Yes. You're welcome.
Let's give Daniel a round of applause. That was phenomenal. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for being with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Here's the link again, guys. Go ahead and download Daniel's morning money activation, which sounds amazing. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Before I introduce our next guest, thank you, Daniel, for being with us. Let me do this. Excellent. Before I introduce our next guest, I want to share with you the first key to activating your heart energy. And that is the point of awareness that your heart is a beautiful sacred portal to your highest self. So once you start really connecting to this space as your divine sacred portal to connect and embody your highest self, you will start relating to your heart in a completely different way. How to activate that portal and use that portal to activate your heart in my next key. Now, I am excited to welcome to our virtual stage Dr. Streeter. Dr. Streeter, welcome. Let me ping you to the screen.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Well, it's always nice to be part of one of these events because you realize you're delivering a chapter of a book that some visionary is prepared, and so I'm sort of dutifully going to present mine and embrace what I've just heard and lay track for what's about to unfold in the rest of the day. About 30 years ago, I banged my head very hard and consequently was able to start seeing energies around people. And, as a 21-year-old fellow, I was, I guess, timing it right to then spend a career journeying into why I could visit a museum or an art gallery or even a temple of any kind and see these beautiful halos of energy around people and these beautiful bodies of light. But when it came to my medical book, all I could see was bodies and organs, and this sort of element of soul shine seemed to be missing. And of course, I wouldn't have noticed had I not banged my head. But the sort of subtrepanning process I did, I think, shook out all that schoolboy programming of looking at the pencil on the desk and up at the blackboard and back at the pencil and up at the blackboard, which they've had us been doing for several decades, to kind of squeeze out this clairvoyance, which really is just clear seeing. And so I come and speak to you as an authority on what is effectively biofield science. I set up an institute in the UK, well funded, to research the nature of holistic healing. And I'm happy to say we've done hundreds of different studies proving how all the different modalities work, from Ayurveda to Zen Reiki. And they all have a very common reality, which is and has been taboo science since about 1904, when Morley disproved the ethers. And the chemists were able to start patenting their brews. And so, you know, all of us come together across a desert and through a mist of disinformation and misinformation. But we're here because of this heart-centeredness, where we understand there is an integrated being who has obviously all these physical qualities that surgeons need to operate upon, but also other aspects of self. And I mean, we do have, you know, little insights. You can see an image of the Buddha with the third eye painted in the middle of his brow. We have these key words in every language, the anatomy and physiology of the biofield, from the meridians, the marma points, the layers of the biofield. It's all well mapped. And we, as practitioners, understand we're effectively reading the human atmosphere, a bit like the weather forecasters. And yet we have some wonderful tools now. We don't need to rely on pendulums and peacock feathers, or even, dare I say, someone else's word. I think the revolution in health, and therefore business, revolves around the individual being in total control of their journey. I encourage a scenic one, but I and my colleagues therefore developed a tool which doesn't just see someone else appearing on the other side of the desk, some therapist who's now going to give me herbs and weeds and all sorts of wonderful things. I want to be in charge with my family, this smart family that we've become. And I want to track everything. I want to see when my Johnny has a Reiki session, how well he actually responds to it. So I can start designing in my head what my family needs, so that I'm not subjected to some psychopathic therapist who's just learned something the previous weekend and now wants to drum all their colleagues and, you know, patients into doing this thing. And it's been happening with surgery for many years. You know, surgeons go and learn new keyhole tricks, come back, and suddenly everyone's got a need for this kidney surgery. And I really don't think we need to be replacing one system with another. Obviously, healers have a wonderful role in supporting that journey, but I think we need to empower ourselves to know when we bring in each different person into our family. And I think this is a crucial revolution. It's not just about integration of healthcare or, you know, welcoming in traditional medicine. It's actually a revolution where the individual is really at the center of the, you know, the hub, a bit like the heart is at the center. And just to speak about that a second, you know, what are the chakras? You know, some of you may be holistic practitioners. Well, I'll tell you what they are. They're lenses which allow us to interact and weave ourselves into each dimension. And so when the baby is born and experiences its first breath, and it's relived all the lives it's ever lived over that 9 months. It's been the turkey, the tadpole, all the human lives it's ever lived. It's a kind of fast forward play in there. And then we take that first breath and the soul reconnects with 1D, first dimension. That's the base chakra pointing down magnetically, holding us there in time and space. Who's the first person we see? The mother, the brother, the other. That takes us to 2 dimensions. That's why the navel chakra is always about the family, emotions, relationships, because we're starting to populate our space with soul. And the 3rd chakra, the solar plexus, obviously is that process where we're no longer just little stick people on a 2D piece of paper. We're actually in space. And so our lower 3 chakras are like plasma jets firing on a spaceship, keeping us still on space, in space. We're standing on a ball that's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and yet we feel still. How do we do that? Our lower 3 chakras are subconsciously doing that all the time. But the problem is we'd just be frozen. If that was it, if just 3 chakras manifested space, we'd just be here. Time is the heart chakra. The heart beats with time. When the Greeks first started measuring the heartbeat, it was 60 beats a minute. We're all just in a rush. So the reality is that the healer understands, and his Kundalini rises through this space-time process. Most human doings don't. Most human doings stay in the water. But if you rise up and ride that board of self down the wave we call time, you have access to higher sensory perception. And this is the brow chakra, the throat chakra, the crown chakra. And this triage allows us to work as healers beyond time and space. This is what these nutters have been doing, making crop circles. You have to understand what is a human being and your role in this process of revelation. And yeah, so from my perspective, I wanted to prove this. You know, it's big talk, but then let me give you a tool to show you what I'm talking about. So we developed the Biofields Viewer, and it's been 30 years in the making. It's a historical thing. John Catchpole and I and Harry Oldfield were all well-known characters in this scene of making technology. Remember, we've been around longer than Microsoft. You know, we know what we're doing. We first developed this technology on an Archimedes computer. So why have we been suppressed? Why has this been hidden? And is this now an opportunity for people to connect with their true selves? I believe so. I spent 20 years banging my head against a wall, trying to persuade doctors to let me into their screening environments. But they would lock arms and say, no, we don't want you people because you're going to replace us. You know, they knew, everybody knows. The elephant's not an elephant in the room. It's a blooming herd. We just need to make sure they don't end up woolly mammoths before we actually start addressing those goddamn elephants in the room. And so, as I said, we developed a tool called the Biofield Viewer. Thousands of practitioners around the world have this tool. One of my colleagues, Tanya, is there. You set it up with a simple light and a simple camera, and the software allows us to see what we've been programmed out of seeing, which is the gradations of light intensity around people, which reveals the features, the anatomical features, those vortexes, the chakras. You know, what is the chakra body? It's a tornado alley of a massive vortex, toroidal being. And we've been stuck in this little spacesuit, this boy bag by the media and by our schooling. And that's not what we are. And so we really want to show people what they really are, and they can get this app, which is now in any phone, and you can track your journey and your son and your dog and your horse and even your other animals, because everyone should have a vibrant and optimized biofield. Healing is that process whereby tensegrity and symmetry is returned to the biofield, like you finally learned how to put up a tent right, so it can suddenly handle this wind, this brightness, this beacon of light that you're able to shine. If you ain't up to it, you ain't gonna do it. And so any talk about abundance and money and all this frou-frou is just an absolute side salad. But it comes, I mean, look at me, I'm a multimillionaire. I have homes on every continent. Get with the program, do what you're passionate about, and it will come. Don't talk about money, that's absolute rubbish. And I don't mean to speak to my colleague in the first window, but I would certainly say that we have an opportunity to shake off this taboo. We have an opportunity to show our brothers and sisters and our our families and our colleagues who and what we really are. And this is beyond that silly wingnut we call politics. One wing for this guy and one wing for that woman. No, it's a nut, and it tightens down and it removes our freedoms. It seems that perhaps there's a look up for fresh air and what's going on. I'm excited about that, and I hope you two are. I hope you all are too, I should say. Right, time-wise, 10:42. I think I've been talking fast enough to be ahead of the curve. Tanya, my colleague, are you able to speak?
Tanya, where are you?
Well, I've done my bit, haven't I? So why don't you, can you pin her up to
Yeah, let me see
Tatiana?
where. Tanya, if you could just like raise your hand or something so I
Hello,
can.
I'm right
Okay.
here.
Okay, cool.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
1 second. Gallery view. Can you? Oh, Tanya, yes, welcome.
Hello, thanks for
Hi.
having me. It's wonderful to be here. I think Dr. Streeter covered a lot. I think what I'd like to chime in is just as an energy healing practitioner, I discovered Dr. Streeter's biofield viewer a couple years ago and integrated it into my healing practice. And I think what I love about it is it's a tangible asset for us as energy healers and holistic workers. It allows us to actually show our clients their progress healing, no matter what modality we work in, whether it's acupuncture, chiropractor, physio, or energy healing modalities. Dr. Streeter's technology is really incredible, and I think that's and then I think a free gift that we have today for everyone is we're sharing free access to Soul Mirror, which is, as Dr. Streeter was mentioning, it's the mobile version of Biofield Viewer for all of you. So you have 30 days to use the Biofield Viewer Soul Mirror for free. You can photograph yourself, your pets, your family members. Now, there is a bit of a catch because there is a bit of a learning curve to this technology. And so there's a YouTube video as well that I sent to Tatiana. And I encourage all of you to watch the 3-minute YouTube video, basically just learning how to take proper imaging. Because the biofield viewer imaging, which we don't have time to get into today, is going to show up very bright and colorful, almost kaleidoscope light. And to understand it, what we're looking for is we're looking for slow moving energies. And it's like a dark or hot pink or red energy is what we're looking for in there that will show us congested energy. And I don't know, I think Dr. Streeter must have lost his Wi-Fi. He's down in the islands right now. So I'll finish up the chat for him here is we are offering an information session this Friday from 11:30 to 12:30. Now, Tatiana, am I allowed to put a Zoom link in the chat below? Okay, perfect. So I will put that in and share. And if anyone would like to join us outside to break out from this meeting to have some one-on-one, see some before and after imaging. And that's really what I like to show as a practitioner is I like to do before imaging and after imaging in the matter of an hour or half an hour, whatever the session is, so the clients can see the efficacy of my modalities within that time period from the time they left or from the time they arrive to the moment they leave. And so that's really beautiful about the biofield viewer and Dr. Streeter's technology is it's mind-blowing, and it really gives us a baseline to allow us to monitor our self-care and our journey through self-care with our energy and by using it. So this free gift is amazing. So I encourage all of you to take advantage. I don't know if we can share our contact info, but if you want to join our Zoom on Friday for our information session, we can talk about, and maybe even if someone wants to take an image, Dr. Streeter and I could do a live interpretation on Friday, because I don't think we're going to have time for that today, but we could absolutely do that on Friday for anyone who wants to really wrap their head around the biofield viewer. And by all means, I encourage all of you to join the Energy Medicine Exchange on Facebook, or follow us online, the biofield viewer. And if you want to learn some more information about it, and like I said, in the chat below. I'll put the Zoom for Friday. Feel free to join us for an hour over your lunch and dive in a little bit more about what Biofield Viewer is, and you can see some before and after imaging and go from there. And I see Dr. Streeter is back on, so I'm going to hand it back over to him to round out the rest of this. But thank you so much, and it was nice meeting all of you.
Amazing. Thank you, Tanya. Let me see. Let me ping.
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome back.
That's great. And you know what's funny, because I was sitting in the shade, but you know, as our friendship grew, and you were sipping my engagement champagne, the sun was moving around the banana tree, and suddenly my computer was in like hot water, critical temperature, and it just blew out, shut down. So luckily, I have my phone as a backup and the shade as well. But I certainly think my colleague and I have conveyed what we wanted to achieve in such a short period of time. But the key thing, of course, is always to address the key theme of any event. And this concept of being heart-centered, I mean, this is the key. This is the key to being present. And if you're not present, you can't sell anything to anyone. The heart is presence. It's from the heart. Heart is green. Green is the color of love. Let me tell you a little story. My friend Simon drives up across the hall from me in a new, say, Mercedes, right? I'm happy for him. I shower green, loving energy all over him. But if I want it, it becomes green of envy. It gets muddied. So we just have to learn what we are, and then we can be correct and authentic. So yeah, if there's a message from me today, it's about authenticity.
I love that, Dr. Streeter. Thank you so much for joining us. Do we have any questions for Dr. Streeter or Tanya? We still have 7 minutes. So go ahead and ask your questions.
I'm going to go in the quiet place.
And let me pop the link for the Soul Mirror to the chat again. And I see Tanya is sharing the dial-in information for Friday. Yes. Beautiful.
Well, I mean, the good thing is that I know some of your colleagues are going to be super efficient and probably have already downloaded the app onto their phone. And so, you know, we may have someone actually putting a picture up. But there is another link, Tanya, which is the how to take a picture correctly, because it's really important when you're looking at your biofield that you understand what you're competing with. You're competing with the sun. So, for example, if you look at my face here, I've got a whole patch of shadow on one side of my face, but not on the other. And so at the same time, you know, we want to have the sun, or the equivalent of the sun, which is a decent white light, pointing on us with a white background. It really isn't too much to ask. So there's me in the sun with a white background. Now, obviously, if I haven't got that right, I can do it in a room. I can take the, what are they called? Light shade, lamp shade off a light, or get a decent spotlight and shine it straight at me. The important thing is to give the biofield an honest, uniform light to then take that picture. You can take pictures anywhere of anybody, any animal, but if you want to track the progress of something, if you want to see what you look like now, and then the next day, and then the next day, this uniformity really helps. You just have the same light right in front of you. And, you know, this is a $30 thing or $100 thing on Amazon. So, you know, we really wanted to develop a technology that was accessible. I've had clients in the past that sent equipment back to me. They said it can't possibly work because it's not expensive enough. Can you believe that? That was a hospital in Liverpool. Yeah, this couldn't possibly work because it doesn't cost enough. Wow.
There's a couple questions here, Dr. Streeter, if you'd like to answer. So they're saying, Nancy's asked a question. You were saying when you're doing the imaging that the heart should appear green. Do you want to answer that?
Well, I didn't say that. I said that the heart emanates green. when it's, harmonized. I didn't say it should show green. I think the heart chakra itself can be all kinds of different colors depending on what's going on. I mean, if it's red, it may well be that you're shielding yourself from someone around you or something around you. We have all these. I mean, that's the thing about something that's been taboo. We've got a lot of catching up to do. We've got to learning what all these different things are. Why people's biofields have a pitch and a yaw, why they can sometimes be, like frayed away from something. And it is often an environmental concern that their biofield is effectively evolving them out of. So, yeah, I mean, the key thing about the chakras, and notice our program has two settings. One is biofield viewer and the other is chakra viewer. So if you're looking at your own biofield and seeing your chakras, just make sure it's well lit, because you might end up look like a really scary old dark beast. And that's not what we want. I mean, this is the price of giving you our technology into your phone. So I think it's really important, Tanya, that you share that 3-minute link. How to
Yeah, so I think
Pardon?
Tatiana, are you going to share the YouTube link, Tatiana, the one I emailed to you?
Yep, I actually shared it already. It's somewhere here in the here.
Yeah, we'll share everything in the chat box on the side of this
Perfect.
spiel.
So
Yeah,
Bridget asked the question about how do you take a photo of yourself? Is there a process? So Bridget, I'll answer this question for you. Yes, it's very much like taking a passport photo. We want to minimize shadows because shadows will distort the results of the imaging. But it's very easy once you understand how to light. And, for women, you want to pull your hair back into a ballerina bun. We want to wear white if is ideal, organic cotton. But the YouTube video, like I said, it's a 3-minute video that I made up that will walk you through it. And by all means, I encourage everyone to join us on Friday where we can do an actual demo. Maybe we can even do a live interpretation of someone who's here on screen with us, and we can help guide you and really help you get a better understanding of the technology. Yeah. I've been using it for about 2 years, and it's completely changed the way I run my practice and the way I do my sessions. So I can't speak enough, and I'm here to help Dr. Streeter get the word out. So hopefully we can have a few more practitioners join us.
That's true. Yeah. Well, also, I mean, just the fact that it's now available in anyone's phone. So, I mean, I envisage a situation where, I mean, the thing is, practitioners, I don't know whether all of you are therapists or not, but there is a danger that we're all running a one-room hotel, with this linearity of seeing one person after the other. And I have concerns about that. I think you should all promote yourselves to teachers and actually do things more like this, where you have a Zoom with 20 or 30 people. And of course, with our technology, they could all be taking an image of themselves at the beginning of this. We're going to give up smoking video, or we want to deal with stress video, or we want to be abundant with money video. And there's could be 100 people there, and they're all able to track the progress of their biofields during this actual program and then on into the future. So yeah, that's what I think is important now, is kind of dispelling the myth that we have a kind of woo-woo pseudo template. No, our science has been suppressed and oppressed, and we have the tools to prove it. We just need to get on out there and do it. Thank you, guys. It's been wonderful.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Streeter. Thank you, Tatiana, I called you Tatiana, for joining us today. It's amazing to learn about your technology. It's fascinating. And I will be sharing the links, the YouTube video with the participants. So, and I would love to join you on Friday as well. So we'll see you on Friday, guys.
Brilliant.
Amazing. So let's give Dr. Streeter and Tanya a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us today. That was incredible to witness your light, Dr. Streeter. You're amazing. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you. All right, before I introduce our next speaker, I want to give you the second key to activating that heart portal, and that is your connection to your heart. You see, you're either connected to your mind, ego, fear, space, mentality, or you are actually connected to your heart and connected to your highest self through the heart. So it is a consistent and committed process to actually connect to your heart and stay connected throughout the day. And it's a very simple practice to start your morning 5 minutes connecting to a heart and just, doing quick check-ins throughout your day. Where am I? Am I connected to my heart, or am I here in my mind fear space right now? So connection is key. Connection is key. You're either connected to your mind, to the conditioning, or you are actually connected to your heart and to your highest self. All right, sounds good. Welcome our next speaker. I am so excited to welcome Cindy J. Holbrook to our beautiful event today. Cindy, if you could just, wave your hand. Let me see if I can find you right there. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having
Introduce
me.
yourself. Yes.
All righty. I am Cindy J. I'm known as the Visibility Whiz online. I've been coaching since 2008. I began as a divorce coach, and I lived in a very, very small community. And back then, there wasn't Zoom or good ways to speak online. Everybody kept telling me I had to go out and speak. I was working 60 hours a week. So to drive, and I lived 90 miles from anywhere. So to drive 4 hours to give a 30-minute speech just wasn't practical in my mind. So I utilized all of my online knowledge to get visible. And other coaches started coming up to me saying, "Hey, Cindy, how did you get on Huffington Post Live? How did you get on eHarmony? How did you get on Prevention? Can you show me how to get on these places too?" So over the years, I morphed into being the visibility whiz. But what I've noticed, and if you can't be online, but if you can turn your camera on, and if not, go ahead and post in there. But I want to know, how many of you really know where your community is? Do you know how to reach them? Do you have any idea at all? Raise your hand if you know where they are. Or say yes in there. Okay, Rosabelle, did you say yes? Yeah, okay. Okay. So visibility isn't really the question. The question is two things. What do I say whenever I'm in front of my community to get them to know, like, and trust me? And that comes down to confidence. Everything always boils down to mindset. So I really like helping my clients step into who they are with outrageous confidence and find strategies that align with their personal beliefs, values, and who they are as a person. I can't tell you, I believe I worked with you, Rosabelle, long time ago. Um, and so when I can't tell you how many times people have told me, "Oh, I know I have to be on Facebook, but I hate Facebook. I know I have to be on Instagram, but I hate Instagram. I know I have to speak, but I hate speaking. I know that I have to be on YouTube, but I'm terrified of the video." This is what people are telling me. So it's not that you don't know where or what to do, it's that you are trying to do things that other people are telling you to do because they're not aligning with your heart. So if you don't like Facebook and you're trying to do it every day, you're not going to be consistent. So I like helping people align really who they are, because every strategy will work with the right person at the right time with the right mindset. So I have this picture up here. So how many of you would tell me that how many of you think this picture is good, or how many of you think this picture really sucks? Just tell me if you think it sucks. This was the very first picture I painted at a wine and paint place. And I really hated that picture. I cried. I said, I'm dumb. I don't know what I'm doing. I did it wrong. And I just don't know how to follow directions. Can I share my screen, Tatiana?
Yes, let me give you the right. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I thank you for all the compliments on the picture, but I really did not like this. So let me,
Yep.
okay, so
Cindy,
there's
you
a
still
share.
have the right. Yep.
Okay. So that was my first painting. This was a few years back, and this is my son. This is actually looks like the picture. This looks the most like the picture from the teacher. But you can see my son, my daughter, my sister, theirs was all a lot more brighter. And so I kept judging what I did to them. So therefore I was like, I can't do anything. This is so wrong. And I find that we do this in real life. And all that does is that destroys our confidence because now we're not giving credit to where we are. Now I really love this picture. I have really came to love it and accept it and embrace it. But when we do things differently, that's what makes us authentic. It's what draws people towards us. If I did mine perfect, like what I think my son did, uh, then it wouldn't have been authentically me. So I followed the directions the way my mind accepted the directions. And what I was really having a hard time doing was blending everything together. And it came out a lot darker, but a lot of people have told me that it looks sort of dramatic. It looks like it's at nighttime instead of bright and sunny, like what my son's looks like. So, how many of you have found that whenever you do something, you give a speech, you do a video, you compare it to other people, maybe your mentors or somebody else? How many of you have ever compared your stuff to other people? And all that does is wreak havoc with our confidence. So the only person you should ever compare yourself to is yourself. And it's embracing who you are. It's embracing your strengths, your flaws, your everything about you. And whenever you can truly embrace who you are authentically, other people are going to embrace you. Otherwise, you're wearing this mask and you're not letting people see all of you. So you're speaking and you're really like this, or you're doing a video, you're like this. So it's stepping up and it's being fully authentic. A lot of people think that means that you have to share every deep, dark secret you have, which is not true. But you have to be authentic and you have to be vulnerable enough to share some of your mistakes. Not all of them, but some of them. When you do this, people connect with you because they connect with human. They connect with if everything you do is perfect or they perceive you as perfect, they don't trust you. So therefore they can't trust you to help them with their problems. Why do you think people hire you? What's the number one reason why people hire you? Anybody? Your personality. They hire you because of your personality. They resonate with you, they trust you, but it's your personality. Because if you're sitting there, like there's tons of other business coaches out there, but I am here to serve a certain subset of people. My clients, they really like my personality. They like who I am as a person. Me and my clients will go out to lunch together. I would invite them to my house for dinner, right? I mean, there's a big connection there. So people that they hired you because of your personality, they like it. They want to be around you because of your personality. There are business coaches out there that are really stiff and really like to the point that I could never work with as my mentor. All of my mentors, most of my mentors have been very spirit filled. They want to change the world. They're not after just the money. but they, because I am drawn to their personalities. There are people out there who's very successful that I would never work with because I'm not drawn to their personality. So with your personality and being confident, and I talk about outrageous confidence a lot. Being outrageously confident is simply confidence is a state of being. It's a choice that you make every day. You didn't know how to tie your shoe before you knew how to tie your shoe. You didn't know how to tell time before you knew how to tell time. But you were confident that you had the skills or the ability to learn it. So whenever you're doing something for the first time, it's being confident that you have the ability to learn it and to do the best you can with what you have right this minute. And outrageous is being bold, startling, or indifferent. It doesn't mean it has to be bold, startling, or indifferent to everybody. What it means is that it's bold, startling, or different to you. Years ago, I was at an event and my roommate told me that my sweater made me look really fat and frumpy. It's like, what woman wants to be told she looks fat and frumpy, right? And she goes, I would never wear that sweater in public. I would only wear it at home. So for a couple years, I only wore that sweater at home. One day I was sitting there and something came up and I had to leave the house and I had to go to about 4 or 5 different places. Every single place that I stopped, somebody told me, wow, that sweater's so beautiful. It compliments you and you're just so beautiful in it. And I thought, why in the heck am I letting one person's opinion dictate what I wear? So I went home and I had my husband take a head to toe picture of me wearing my sweater and I sent it to my entire email list with the picture, with my story. This was me being bold. This was me being startling and different because it I was terrified to do it after really believing that the sweater just looked horrible on me, but it was something I had to do to grow. So when people say step into your fears, like if you're terrified of something, it depends upon the terror of it. I have a phobia with bees, and um, I can tell you there's been a few times, but I was whenever I worked in social services, I was at this mandatory meeting and there was about 12 bees running around. And I ran into this little 4-foot corridor and slammed all the doors shut. And I was shaking and crying. And my boss goes back there and she's like, you have to be in this meeting. It's mandatory. And I just like, I can't. I was terrified. So when you're that terrified, don't try to take an action because you need to calm yourself down. You need to be, but me being afraid, it was more being uncomfortable whenever you do something startling. Years later, I was at another conference and I was waiting for the doors to be open and there was hundreds of bees floating around. I am allergic to them, but the the terror and the anxiety that I had with them was to another level. And my it was with Mary Allen, who's known as the inner peace coach. She took me and she helped me through this. And her husband, he took me to this room with a window because I swear this place had thousands of bees. And he goes, look, they're just meditating. They're over there going from flower to flower and they're just meditating, minding their own business. And now I can actually go outside whenever there's bees without feeling the terror. So now I'm at a place where I can face my fear. But if you're in terror, don't try to go do something. If you are terrified of the camera, don't try to do a video and send it to your community. Practice it first. This was my very first video. Hi, my name is Cindy. Today we will talk about confidence. Do you think that instilled confidence in anybody? My daughter was like, Mom, that doesn't even look like you. because I was so stiff and I was so afraid. But I have obviously overcame my fear of the camera. And so whatever you're afraid of, you can overcome it. But that's so is stepping into who you are again with outrageous confidence is knowing that you can do the best you can do with what you have right now. There's a quote from John Assaraf. He says that you have all the resources you need right this minute to make a masterpiece out of your life. So my question to you is, what resources do you have that you're hiding because you're afraid to share them with other people? What parts of your personality are you hiding because you're afraid of showing them to other people? And are you trying to do something because somebody has told you it was right to do? I made myself wrong for years, and I kept saying, I can never be successful because I do not want to get up at 5 a.m. All of the business books say to be successful, you have to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and have your quiet time and plan your day. And so, therefore, I made myself wrong and I decided that I could never be successful. I had to let go of that belief before I could become successful because I'm not going to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I get up about 7 or 7:30, and I have planned my day around what fits me. And this goes into utilizing strategies that fit who you are. I'm not going to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm setting myself up for failure. But if I say I'm going to get up at 7 and I'm going to do this and this and that, I know that I can do that. That works with my clock. Um, but we're told you have to be on LinkedIn, you have to be on Facebook, you have to do video. And so now we get bombarded with all these have tos, and it shrinks our confidence. It makes us believe that we cannot do what we're supposed to do or what we've been led to do in our heart, or we feel like we are doing something wrong, just like I felt with my picture. If I'm not doing it right, then I must be doing it wrong. And whenever you do it your way, you are doing it right. Now, as far as visibility and stepping into who you are with outrageous confidence, I have 5 steps. First, you need to choose what you're going to do. Whenever you truly choose something and you decide, you're going to move heaven and earth to make it happen, and the resources just come to you. The right people, the right books, the right whatever you need, it's just magic comes to you. And then you need to, I call it CPACT, P-A-C-T. The C is for choose, because you need to do that first. The P is to make peace with your past, present, and future. And a lot of people go, how can I make peace with my future? Well, we don't know what the future is, but we have to make peace that whatever happens in our life, we can overcome it. We will be okay. Whatever happens, we're strong enough, we're big enough, and nothing's going to happen to us that we can't handle. But whenever you make peace with your past, present, and future, A is to acknowledge where you are right this moment. And wherever you are is perfect for you because it's based on everything you've learned, who you are, and every decision that you've made. And so where you are right this moment is perfect for you right this moment. And now see, I'm trying. Okay, I lost my train of thought. So let me look at my little notes here. Okay, the second C is for courage. Just having that courage to step out with outrageous confidence, knowing that you're going to make mistakes, but it's okay. That's the way that we learn. It's not being afraid that we're going to make a fatal mistake that's going to screw up our whole world. And it's trusting the process. When you trust the process, because then the trust, the peace, then that's whenever your heart truly opens to hear what your higher power has to say, to where you can take the action that's right for you. I think that's my 10 minutes.
That was so beautiful, Cindy. That was so amazing. I love when you said, when you decide, you get supported from right, left, and center. You get the resources, you get the mentors, you get everything is just falling into place when you say yes, when you decide. And if that's your like heart's desire, it just manifests instantly. I love it. Do we have questions for Cindy?
Real quick, I want to say something too, because this goes with being authentic a whole lot. And it goes with what people have to say. And being women, most of you are women in here. One thing we're told over and over and over again is you have to wear makeup when you're on camera, and you should wear eyeshadow, and you should wear mascara. My eye, I've had 5 surgeries on it. I am not allowed to wear mascara. Like, I cannot wear makeup per my eye doctor. So am I supposed to give up my business to not do that? Right? And this is where being authentic comes in. I really had to give up, and I had to stop listening to so many people. And I'm sure every woman in here has heard that before. Whenever you go on video, you have to have all your makeup on. But it's really, again, stepping into who you are. And I don't know, I felt inspired to add that.
I love that. This is so key. Absolutely. For me personally, it's been my accent. I was just, not really ashamed, but I'm like, oh my goodness, the way I speak, it's just so different. What will people, think about me? They will criticize me for my accent. But then I realized it just makes me different. My accent actually makes me different.
It
So
makes you you.
it makes me me. Yeah.
Mhm.
I embrace my accent, and I embrace sometimes I make mistake when I speak, and English is not my, native language, but I accept myself fully for who I am, and I really shine my light from my heart. So for me, that's the power. All right. That was so
Exactly.
beautiful. Thank you so much. Ladies, do you have any questions for Cindy?
And I do have a meditation too, and I didn't know when I was supposed to share it.
Oh, yes, please go ahead and share now.
Okay. So before you go get on a call with a client, potential client, or you get on stage, or if you're writing marketing material, whatever you're doing, you want to, first of all, you want to get grounded. So you put your feet on the floor and just really connect to Mother Earth. And then you want to, with the crown of your head, you want to connect to your higher power. And I always picture a beam of light going from my head to the higher power. And then, and so then what I do is I take a couple breaths and I release any energy that's not mine, that's not serving me right at this minute. And then I take a couple deep breaths just to fill myself with light uh, from um, from spirit. Just fill myself with light. And then I want to connect to those that I am meant to serve. So what I do is I picture a beam of light from my heart. So you can picture a beam of light from your heart going out to the hearts and souls of all of the people you're meant to serve. So my heart is going out to Terry and Tatiana and Rosabelle and Kevin and Bridget. So my heart's going out to each of you. And all I do is send you love and life. Love, pure, unconditional love and acceptance. And then I picture a beam of light next picture a beam of light from your crown of your head, and picture the beam of light from all of your soul's crown of heads going up to the sky, and they're all interconnecting because you're all one consciousness. So you picture all of your higher spirits connecting up at the top. And now, whenever you're all connected as one and you're relaxed, You're full of light. You're connected from your heart center with the people you're meant to serve. You're connected from your crown chakra with those that you're meant to serve. So you're connected to their hearts and their minds. Now ask them what it is that they need and want from you right now. What type of content do they want you to share? Is there any special place they want you to be? How do they want you to deliver the content with them? So you want to hold your heart and mind connection to them for a minute and listen to what they're telling you spiritually. And then whenever you feel like you've gotten the messages that your community wants you to have, and take 3 deep breaths in and just really take in and own the messages that they've just delivered to you. And then whenever you do this, you may want to take a few minutes to journal your experiences and the messages that you've received. And by doing this daily, you're going to really start connecting with the hearts and minds of those that you're meant to serve. And they are going to tell you what it is that they want from you, which is really going to give you more confidence in everything that you're doing online and whenever you're speaking. And that's my meditation. I always do.
Cindy, this is so powerful. Thank you so much. I'm actually taking the stool for myself because I heard what my community wants from me, and it's very powerful. Thank you so much for sharing this meditation. I'm sure everyone connected, right, to the power of
Thank
this
you.
practice. Yes. Cindy, how can people find you and work with you? If you could share that with us, that would be.
Okay. Well, really, if you Google Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, you're going to find me everywhere. I do have a gift. Do you want me to share the gift now?
I'm sharing the gift in the chat right
Okay.
now.
My gift is 5 power steps to play big in business and life and in business. And in there, I really go through the CPACT, choose, peace, acknowledge, courage, and trust. And also I have several exercises in there, and I have 50 confidence boosters for you that if you want to practice them on a daily thing. Also, because you're here with me, can I offer them something else?
Of course.
Okay. It's something that I have sold for $497 in the past. It's a visibility audit. So, and I'm going to have to get the link, but the visibility audit, what did I share here? But the visibility audit is a 1-hour session with me. I'm working more than that hour, believe me, but I ask you some questions. And then what I'm going to do is review your online visibility, what you're doing. And then during the call, I will give you tips and strategies on how to be more more visible. I'm just looking for my
The link.
my link, yes, because aha, there it is. Okay. CindyJHolbrook.com/audit.
Amazing.
Okay. Yeah, so you can pick up the 5 power steps to play big in business and life. And if you want that visibility audit, I would love to connect with you, get to know you more. And like I said, I am everywhere. Know that if you start researching me, I have been a little bit out of the picture for a while due to my eyes. but my eye is definitely on the mend and it's getting better and stronger every day. So that for a while I could only be online or on the computer about an hour a day, which really meant that I had to really focus on particular things.
Amazing. Cindy, I am so grateful for you being here with us today. Thank you for sharing all this powerful, amazing wisdom with us. That practice, oh my God, it's gold. I'm taking it. Um, let's give Cindy a round of applause. Thank you so much, Cindy, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cindy, before you
Because
go, if you could give
because
me the hosting right, because I cannot pin people if I don't have hosting right.
okay. Um,
Just make me the host.
okay, I haven't played with this, so since all the changes, so let me see here. Host tools.
Yeah, just you can click on the three dots and make me the host on the on my little square.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All
There
right.
you are.
There you
And
go. Thank you so
I
much.
did want to tell everybody, I know that you're having somebody else up. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in chat. I will stick around and answer them since we didn't get a chance to do any.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Cindy. It's a pleasure having you. Before I welcome our next speaker, I want to share with you the third key to activating your heart. And that is another point of awareness that your heart energy is an accelerator for your business results. When you connect to your heart energy and you lead your business from your heart space, that energy accelerates results. Okay, so it's an accelerator for you, for your vision, and for the results you're looking to create this month and next month. It's a very potent and powerful energy. All right, and with that, I am very excited to welcome Terry Lanovsky to our event today. I see Terry is here. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you so much, Tatiana.
It's a pleasure having you.
I'm very excited to be here, and I'm so glad I got to sit in on the very recent meditation. I feel centered and ready to connect with all of you.
Amazing. Thank you, Terry. Could you please tell us about yourself?
Sure. First of all, my name is Terry Lanowski, and my body of work is soulful listening. Before we go into that, I want to ask you a question. Who listens to you?
That's a good one.
How do you feel when you're deeply heard, when the rest of the world seems to disappear? We're at our best, we're connected, we're in our humanity in that moment. The problem is we really don't feel heard, across the world, and it's devastating. Statistics that, support that indicate that half of the population is lonely. And the hardest hit are right in front of our eyes, and it has the health implications of smoking 15 cigarettes a day, with health risk now exceeding those of obesity. This is very serious, and it's how we listen to others. But I would also say, and what's really connected to what we're doing here, is how are we listening to ourselves? And what is the potential that's unleashed when we listen to ourselves, or we listen to others and hold them up to their higher vision? Yeah, very powerful, very powerful. So with our time together, I would like to walk through my 5-element methodology that's called soulful listening, give a little bit of background about that, do a little storytelling, and I'm open to questions. I really invite those. If you have a specific situation that you're kind of grappling with, let's go there. Let's go there. But for now, I think it would be helpful to just share the 5-element framework. And the first element of soulful listening is self-care. Just think about that for a minute. Self-care. Very rarely is the direct connection made between high quality self-care and high communication, but they are directly connected. And self-care is more than a bubble bath, although some of us might enjoy that once in a while. It includes things like, how are we talking to ourselves? What's that loop that's going on? Are we setting healthy boundaries in our lives and in our relationships, in the workplace, in our home, in romantic relationships? Yeah. And are we really evolving our emotional intelligence so that we can respond appropriately to the myriad of situations that present ourselves? All of this is encompassed in what I call self-care. And it includes things like nutrition, sleep. And so when we've taken care of ourselves, we really are in a better position to become fully present, which is the second element of soulful listening. And I imagine we've all been in situations where we can almost see a bubble above a person's head with all the things they're thinking about. We feel it. But when somebody is present, we connect in a way that is rare and beautiful and powerful. And sometimes that sounds abstract, becoming present. So I'm going to kind of flip the script here a little bit, and we're going to do an exercise that I like to do during live events. But I want to invite all of us to do this now. And it's a breathing activity. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to take 3 breaths in and out. We're going to breathe into the count of 4 and out to the count of 6. And there's a reason that we do that. But first, check in with your body. Move around a little bit. I can see you. Shake your body. Move around a little bit. Wiggle your toes. Okay, now we're going to begin. Breathe in through your nose to the count of 4, and then out of your mouth through the count of 6. Let's begin. Breathe in. Hold. Out. Again. In. Hold. Out. And a final time. In through your nose. Hold. Out through your mouth. Notice the warmth in your heart area. Feel how your body is different. We are all more now, I felt the energy shift. We are all more now fully in our bodies. So when we take care of ourselves in the way that I spoke about and become fully present, we set ourselves up for the third element of soulful listening, which is quantum listening. I like to describe this: if active listening and empathy had a love child, it would be this element of soulful listening. And it's all in where you listen with every fiber of your being, through every source you have available, through your 5 senses, your intuition, your heart. And when we connect on this deeper level, we often gain insights into how we might be helpful to another, especially when we enter into the conversation with a state of curiosity and openness. And don't play out the conversation before it even begins. You know, in the past, it may have sounded something like, oh, he'll say this, I'll say that, it's going to end like this, which never turns out well, right? And so when we listen on this deeper level, we get insights into how we might be helpful to another and to ourselves. We get insights when we pause, take care of ourselves, really tune in. We get cues and clues. We do that with another person too. And that leads us to the fourth element, which is the secret sauce: inspired action. And that's when we take action on these insights that we've gained. And it may be something as simple as making a call, making an introduction, sharing some resources with another person with no strings attached. Just imagine how that feels when you feel heard. You've kind of opened yourself up and somebody takes action. But there's one final step, and that is the feedback loop. And that's letting a person know that you've taken inspired action on their behalf. You know, I know I have been in a situation where I've kind of opened myself up, become vulnerable, shared information. Person was nodding their head. I thought, oh, great, I was heard. And now we're going to, get some traction behind this. And then crickets. And that's why the the final step is so important, because in absence of having that feedback loop and letting a person know, we make up stories. We're human, that we fill in the blanks. We can't stand the void. And oftentimes it's not correct. And oftentimes it's a very negative and painful way of filling in the gaps, and it's incorrect. So as these 5 elements are repeated within the context of a relationship, it embeds integrity and confidence within that relationship. So the next time you're engaged with a person, they're more inclined to open up a little bit more, share a little bit deeper, and you're in a position to help them out. And so when we apply that to ourselves, listening to your heart, like settling down, we have this loop that can have us running on a gerbil wheel, and we need to just like hit the pause button, take a breath, listen, and have a high quality question to ask yourself. How might I serve my audience better? And then listen in, take notes, take action. Take action. And then the feedback loop when we're working with ourselves would be to kind of evaluate that afterwards. Check in, make a note, but start now, start small. Try one conversation with another person or with yourself and see how this works. So I would love to ask, do you have any questions right now before I go on? And Tatiana, if you can help me out and read from the chat, I would love that.
Absolutely. Let's see. No questions for now.
Okay. Then I'm going to go on and do a little storytelling. Often I'm asked, well, how did soulful listening come to be? I grew up on the second floor of a stately mansion in a small country town in Nebraska. The second floor because my family converted the first floor into a bustling restaurant with banging and clanging and late night bar crowds beneath my bedroom every night. And I was 3 years old. I had a quieter temperament, pulled the covers over my head, and the sound never went away. And what I wanted more than anything, without even being able to say what it was to feel seen and heard. And my parents weren't available to do that. They were, all involved with the restaurant, and they turned to alcohol for solace. But there was one person that did listen to me, and that was my grandma Helga. And in her presence, it felt as though we were in a safe, warm, delicious bubble. And savory aromas wafting in for the kitchen added extra comfort. And she was a wise woman, resilient, twice widowed, successful in business. And she had a wisdom to her that was beyond ages. And so our relationship was really important, especially in high school when my guidance counselor, I don't know if you've ever had that conversation the senior year where they chart out your future. My high school counselor said to me, "Harry, you're a small town girl. You get lost in a big city. Your best bet is to go to secretarial school and work for your family restaurant." Well, that was a death sentence for my spirit. And I had a couple of sleepless summer nights, tossing and turning. Took this to Grandma Helga. She presenced herself and spoke possibility into me when she said, "Harry, look at all I've done without education. Think of what you can do with it." And in that moment, the trajectory of my life shifted forever. I went on to earn a master's degree at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, which was a big deal coming from a small country town. And, many years later, I paid off the student loans, but it was Grandma Helga's emotional support that gave me the courage and the impetus to go on. I ended up chairing the American Counseling Association Foundation, which represented over 50,000 professional counselors nationwide, and coached human-centered design teams from across the nation that were using empathy to kind of turn programs on their ear. And we showcased workforce innovation at the White House 2 times. So the reason that I'm sharing all of this is we never know the impact of one conversation that we have with another person. In fact, one soulful listening type of conversation can change the trajectory of a life and the world. And how we talk to ourselves can fit into that category too. One conversation where we speak possibility into ourselves can be a game changer. And when we look at the world today, it's clear to me that now more than ever, we need the best and the brightest version of each of us, more fully expressed, to tackle the challenges that are before us. The solutions are there. I just feel that they're locked up, they're held hostage. And I believe that deep listening is a way to unleash the potential. And if you're, working with clients and you're coaching them and you're guiding them, this kind of listening can really tap into potential as you walk alongside them. Do we have time for one more story, or are we?
Absolutely. I wanted
Okay.
to ask you a question before you go.
Okay.
This will be very helpful for people on this event. So when you listen to yourself, how do you differentiate the voice of your conditioned mind from the voice of your soul?
One way to do that is to get into a meditative state. That's really important. And you start small, start with one thing. Like I just said, start now, start small, check in, iterate. You give yourself feedback, and you can tell when it really is your higher self by how your life unfolds. And in that, becomes confidence. And when I was describing, having that next conversation with another person, how you reveal more. When you are listening to yourself and you can trust yourself, when you can pick up on your cognitive dissonance, that angst, that agitation within yourself, you are telling yourself something. So get to a place where you can kind of hear and take action. And when you take the action, then give yourself the feedback. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's just, start now, start small. Don't start with the biggest challenge that you have in your life right now. Test it out. Tune in. Your gut, your heart, they talk to us in ways. And when we first start a conversation, it may be whispers. It may just be little whispers. And as you become more in tune, I know with me, I can sense when I'm off track. I feel an agitation within my own being. And so that's what I would share with you. If you are in a knot, your body is telling you something. Yeah.
That was beautiful. Thank you. We have another question. Could you repeat the 5 elements, please?
Absolutely. So the first one, I'll go real slow. The first one is self-care. The second one is becoming fully present. The third one is quantum listening. And I describe that as the love child between active listening and empathy. The fourth one, inspired action. And the fifth one, the feedback loop. You see, these steps are simple. They're easy to understand. They're easy to become aware of. The challenge becomes putting them into practice. And this, I had shared that my grandma Helga inspired this, and then this methodology has been evolved throughout my lifetime and tested. And I've worked with corporations, with individuals. I've been on countless podcasts, and I get asked about applying this in a variety of settings. So if you want to kind of check me out and pick one that I don't know speaks to a need that you're having right now, I would invite you to do that. Any more questions?
We don't have any more questions, and we have time for your story. You're an amazing storyteller.
Okay, so what I like to share is that once we embody this way of being, we are it wherever we go. I am soulful listening, no matter what relationship I'm in. And so I would love to share a story about my son, Jacob. And I was a single parent with Jacob from the time he was 10 years old on. And we have only spoken in this way, although it was not called soulful listening at the time. And so when he was 15 years old, we tuned in for a high stakes conversation. And I asked Jacob, what would you like for your after high school experience? And then I stood back and listened. At 6'5", 300 pounds, he announces, Mom, I'd like to go someplace strong in math and science. And if I could, play on a good football team. Is there a place that has both? We're in Nebraska. There's a cornfield in the backyard. I'm wondering, where did this come from? But what I did, I heard Jacob's soul. And his soul was saying, I need to go beyond where we are now. What I am meant to be won't happen here. So I soulfully listened, heard what he had to say, took action. So I checked around to find out, where is a school that has both of these things? Where is it? Where is it? A Southern school kept popping up. And so I took this back to Jacob. I go, people are saying this school. He goes, well, we should go. See, he only has lived in a world of possibilities, even though he had no support from, anyway, it was up to the two of us to figure out what was going to happen after high school. We'll just leave it at that. So the Southern school kept popping up. So I called there, made arrangements for us to go there. And it was clear across the country. We ended up at Georgia Tech. We're meeting with coaches and students. A couple days later, he looks down at me from his 6'5" perch and says, Mom, I feel like I belong here. And that was it. He wouldn't even consider any of the other schools that were recruiting him. He took papers and crumpled it up when Nebraska invited him and just dropped it into the garbage can. And I said, well, Jacob, do you maybe want to go and check this out? He goes, what's the point? I'm not going to go there. He had made up his mind. He saw his vision. His soul spoke loudly. So before the end of his junior year, he had earned a full scholarship to play football at Georgia Tech, offensive lineman, and really stepped into the vision that he had for his life. Jacob did all the work, academically and physically. I simply walked alongside him, holding the space for possibility and listening and echoing back to him sometimes when he was speaking a vision that he would have. So he's gone on to do pretty remarkable things. He is now a doctor of physical therapy. He's in San Diego. He is head of human performance and development for an organization that works exclusively with Navy SEALs. So possibilities unleashed. I think back to that 15-year-old, that conversation when he was 15 years old. If I would have constricted myself, it would have constricted his possibility. If I would have said, well, Jacob, why don't we stay in Nebraska? It'd be easier for me to go to the games. No. I knew the pain of limitation to be spoken upon a person. And I also knew the gift of holding the space for great possibility. So the reason that I share this is that, once we are this way, it can be a generational gift, to our lineage, ourselves, our friends. So take a breath and listen.
This is amazing and so inspiring. Thank you so much, Terry. That was such an amazing story you shared.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I have one more question. If you could speak more about the feedback loop, that would be amazing. The fifth step.
So the feedback loop is really circling. If you're in conversation with another person and you have heard a need that they've had, you've taken action, it's letting them know that something's going on behind the scenes. Let's say in a workplace, somebody reveals like a really great idea, you take it up the chain, you let the person know, hey, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but this is what's going on, and I'll keep you in the loop. In the case of the Jacob story, it was letting him know that I had been researching and found out information about possibilities of schools. You don't leave them hanging in the abyss. Does that make sense? Did that help clarify that? Yeah.
That's very clear. Yeah.
And it's such a simple step, but it's so often overlooked and so damaging when it is not done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people will constrict, they'll lock up, they'll never tell you anything again. Trust will be diminished. So it's an important one.
Amazing. Yes, that helps. Thank you. Where can we get more of Terry? Terry, please tell us, how can people find you? And I'm sharing your free gift in the chat for those of you who want to download it.
Okay. So I did a TEDx talk, and that's a really good one. If you're trying to share, if you want to share I heard this lady talk about this thing called soulful listening. That's a really nice way to look for me. I love to connect with people on LinkedIn. That's where I'm posting where I'm going to show up or what's going on in my life, and my website, which is soulfullistening.com.
Amazing.
And my LinkedIn would be Terry Lanowski. And I just invite each of you to listen to yourself and your heart and to others in a deeper way. It's so needed right now. We're hurting and we want to be heard. We need to be heard, and we need to take action on our internal guidance systems, wisdom. Yeah.
Terry, that was so powerful and inspiring. I am very grateful for you sharing your message, sharing your voice here. And, listening is such an important step for us to really connect to the wisdom, to the guidance, to our high self, because our high self is always talking to us. Are we listening? So that was so timely and perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm sharing Terry's gift once again in the chats. You can go ahead and download Soulful Listening, the free gift Terry's sharing with us. Before I welcome our next guest, and I know Mark is here, I want to share with you the fourth key, or the fourth key to connecting to your heart, and that is actually establishing the soulful connection and listening to your heart, because your heart is always talking to you. Are you listening to it? Right? So it's establishing this connection, connecting, asking questions, listening to the answers, listening to the guidance, and really trusting the guidance, trusting the answers. All right, beautiful. Mark is here. Mark, welcome to our event today. I'm so excited you're joining us.
Thank you, Tatiana. It's such a pleasure to be here, and what a great follow to. I'm honored to be able to follow Terry. I feel so aligned. I took notes, and yeah, what a great introduction. It feels like almost an intentional segue, and I know it wasn't, but even with your number 5 key, it all fits so perfectly.
It fits so perfectly. We're divinely guided here inside this space. Thank you for joining us. Could you introduce yourself?
My pleasure. So my name is Mark Porteous, and my wife, Renee Porteous, and I run the Soul Affiliate Alliance. We run a mastermind called MetaMind, and we host a Soulful Leadership Retreat every year in February. We had 110 people there this year. We have over 220 people attending next February. And we also have a separate business, a partnership with my partner, David Ricklin, called the Joint Venture Directory, which is a place where we have over 2,000 members that are coaches, authors, speakers, and healers that come together to collaborate and use partnerships to grow their business.
Amazing. Beautiful. Mark, what would you like to teach our audience today?
Well, again, since my main thing is about being a joint venture strategist, I mentioned my wife, but I failed to mention of who I am. I also have 14-year-old twins, my son Zen and my daughter Eden. They are, to me, the seeds for creating heaven on earth, which is the same reason why I'm in my business. I see my business, one, as a tool for my own personal growth and a way to make a greater impact. And I have found throughout my life that it's building relationship capital, partnerships, really aligned partnerships are the fastest way to grow any business and to make the impact that we want to make. So I'll be talking about why we want to incorporate conscious collaboration as a marketing strategy. We'll talk about the 3 things that you need to have in order to be an aligned affiliate. And then we'll talk about some of the ways that you can actually implement those things right now, wherever you are, no matter where you are in your business.
Amazing. The stage is yours. Go right ahead.
Awesome. So first I want to talk a little bit about, again, why I'm doing this. I've got two books out called Soulful Leadership. Our third one coming out this next January. And again, I've seen that as the fastest way to growth. There are reasons for that. This is a wonderful example. You and I together and everybody that's here are part of a joint venture. So let's start with kind of identifying what does a joint venture mean, because there's a lot of different definitions, especially depending on what industry you're in. So in our industry, I consider a joint venture, in our industry being the expert industry, transformational experts, coaches, authors, speakers, healers. That's anytime one or two or more business owners come together for mutual benefit, a win-win-win situation where it's not just both of us, but primarily it's our audience. That's really what we're looking for as leaders. We're looking at how do we serve our audience, and we want to partner with people that will help with that. So that's the primary part to start off with. And again, such an important part, starting with soulful communication, soulful listening. We'll talk a little bit more about that and how that fits in with creating soul affiliates rather than just transactional partners. So the main reasons that we want to have those, some of the benefits, primarily visibility. We all want to get our message out there to more people. So along with visibility is what some people call target marketing. I like aligned audiences better. It depends on which audience you're speaking to, but having an aligned audience like this, where it is a spiritual meets business audience, that's really what I'm looking for. Any business audience I can help, any spiritual audience that has some business aspect to it, I can help even more. So again, having that aligned audience, you're talking to the right people. Having a billboard where everybody's going by it, not everybody wants what's on that billboard, but when you're speaking directly to the right people, you have a lot more impact. So those are the first two. The next two are, one is credibility. Because you invited me here, the people that are here with us are listening because they trust you. You're the one who brought them here. And so even though it was all of your partners who were inviting people here, you were inviting people that were aligned. So it's aligned people attracting more aligned people. So having that credibility, again, makes people listen. The fourth thing is influence. Credibility lends your ear. Influence leads you into action, as Terry was talking about before. And it's one of the most important pieces. Spiritual people, we can't just meditate our way into change. We have to actually create aligned action. So that last piece of it is really, really important. And then finally, having paying, I forget how we actually phrase it, but it's controlled marketing costs. That's the word. Controlled marketing cost means that you're only paying for leads that turn into sales. So we send a whole bunch of people to this event. Many of them are going to go on to work with you personally. And then if something like that happens, say, oh, great, I would love to give you a referral. That's kind of what a joint venture works like. If you're going on a podcast and you have a lead magnet and it leads to something, you can refer back to that person and say, hey, thank you so much for that. Here's a $25 gift card, whatever your affiliate system might be. But it's a great way to, again, only be paying for the people that are actually investing back into working with you. If you went to like Facebook ads and said, I want to get $3,000 worth of sales and then I'll pay you a percentage of it, they would just laugh at you. They just, no, keep paying until hopefully things work out. So those are the main reasons why you want to do it. And then the three things that you really have to have, I call them the essential keys. So it's really fun that you're using keys as well, because again, it unlocks possibility. And the first key that you have to have is you need to have a transformational offer. You need to know what it is that you do to help people, being really clear on who is your ideal audience and what is the problem that you solve. But most importantly is you want to know who they become on the other side. So with your transformational offer, there's two pieces of it. One is you want to know that it converts, that it transforms, that it does the work that you say you're going to do. You don't want to bring somebody in as part of a summit who you doubt that if somebody works with them, that they're going to get those results. You want to bring in people who you know that they're going to get the results. The second thing is that you do also want to know if you're bringing in a partner that they can convert, that they have a system so that if people want to work with them, that they can, so they can get the transformation. Because if you have, if it's a dead end there, they're not going to get the transformation. There's no sense in bringing somebody into your community where there's nowhere for them to go. So you want to make sure that one, it transforms, two, that it converts, and then and that's how you get the results. You want to have case studies. It's really, really important, I think, to have results and showing how your clients have benefited from working with you. The second piece that you need to have is the systems, structures, and team. I call it the dream team. That's kind of the head of the organization. The first piece is really the heart. This is the head of the organization. Many of us that are like myself, a little left of woo-woo, maybe really good at the visionary part and the creative part, but where the rubber meets the road, if you're not that person, you need to have somebody in your life that is. And then the third part of it is creating a platform for reciprocity, which basically means having an audience where you're able to build it, having an email list that is your community of people that you're here to serve, having a podcast, a summit, some way that you can return bringing in people that bring people to your community. You can give an audience to them as well. So those are kind of the three things that you need to have. And then people might say, okay, well, great. I don't know if I have them. I don't know if I'm joint venture ready because I don't have a big list. I'm not well known. How do I joint venture? You can provide all of those things that I just mentioned in your own way, depending on where you are in your business. So visibility was the first thing that I talked about. There are lots of different ways to provide visibility. You may not have a huge list, but you, at least if you're either on LinkedIn or if you're on Facebook, you can actually share what they're doing on those faces, those different platforms. Or you can actually go on Facebook and do a Facebook exchange. Say, I will interview you to my audience and you interview me Facebook Live to mine. And that's an easy way to get started creating visibility. You might also have, like I said, a podcast or a YouTube channel. It's great if you have that. If you don't have at least a list, that is one of the things I recommend, is to start having some form of way where people who want to work with you, raise their hand and can say, I want to hear more. And you can send out broadcast information. The next level is creating community, someplace where they can hear back. So a Facebook group or something like that. So there's lots of different ways to create visibility no matter where you are. The second thing is to create revenue. And there's lots of different ways you can buy products from your partners, especially if they provide something that you need, if they can help you with your YouTube channel, your marketing, or even if it's just helping you get centered and grounded so that you can show up more powerfully. Being able to partner by providing your services. So you might be able to say, I can offer you a Facebook audit and come in and look at your Facebook group and help you to optimize how you're benefiting your Facebook group. That's what I call your golden hammer. We all have one. For me, my golden hammer is connections. I believe I have a connection that can solve any problem in my life or business. Most of those are people. Some of those are internal connections, but using your golden hammer is something that you can bring to offer to your partners. So there's lots and different ways that you can do it outside of the box, outside of saying that I don't have a big list or big community yet, but finding the ways of just even being a raving fan. If you love this summit, go out and tell people about it, get people over here. If you love Tatiana, it's wonderful to say, hey, this is the experience that I had. And that's a wonderful way of being noticed by somebody who's an influencer, and then they can turn around and then shine the light on you as well. So anybody can do it, no matter where you are in your business. It just really is about you being able to make the decision that you have an important message to share, and that you're going to do whatever it takes that's in alignment with who you are to get that message out.
This is great. I love this. I love this, Mark. Let's see if we have any questions for you. I don't see any questions. I know you work with, your body of work is Soulful Connections. So from Soulful Connections, whether it's a potential client, a potential business partner, how do you see the potential in the connection? How you can grow from that connection into something that is a win-win-win for everyone involved. What's the process?
So the free gift that I'll give later is part of my Soulful Leadership Roadmap, has a process I call the discernment process. You didn't know that. This wasn't a keyed up question or anything else, but I usually do, this is the process that I use to create partnerships But the very first piece is really about alignment, and you'll know, okay, we are aligned, and then you just figure out how. So I heard a very interesting question just now that you shared. It wasn't just like, okay, yes, we want to work together, but then you have to figure out, well, in what way? Because not everybody partners in the same way. Not everybody has a big webinar that they're promoting or a joint venture launch that they're promoting, but it might be saying, hey, I have a podcast, and saying, okay, well, how do I support that podcast? And obviously the podcast knows how to support them. There might be that I'm hosting a live event, whatever. You have to find out where your partners are, the people that are aligned, and say, here's how I partner. So it's really good to be clear on what you bring to the partnership. I shared some of those things in a machine gun fashion just now, but you want to be really clear on what you bring to the party, because that creates the law of reciprocity of I'll go first. And then you can say, here's what I'm looking for in ideal partners. I'm looking for people to put me on their stages. I'm looking for people to make introductions to me. I'm looking for people that would come onto my podcast or come onto my summit. Be really clear on what you're looking for, and then be open to all the possibilities.
Amazing. I love I love this, Mark. Do we have any more questions for Mark? I think we still have quite some time.
We do have quite a bit of time, so I'm going to go back through, because I wasn't watching time, and I didn't want to go over time. I wanted to make sure we had time for questions and everything else. I want to go just to a little review. Again, we talked about first was the benefits of it.
Let's do that.
So the benefits, again, really clearly are increased visibility with aligned audiences, increased credibility, increased influence, and controlled marketing cost. Second piece of it is, what do you need? And so the first piece is what is your transformational offer? And that's the part I really like to focus on. And that's the part that would be the key takeaway, is to understand very clearly, so you can express to other people who you help, the problem that you solve, and who they become on the other side. If you can really crystallize that, that will help other partners, and it will also help your ideal clients to know, oh, that's the person for me. We talk about niching a lot in our industry. For people who might not be familiar, it's really being very specific about who you help, so that they know that you're the person. A lot of times people like to be generalist, and they say, if you speak to everyone, no one hears you. So again, it's not only helpful in your marketing, but also very helpful in your joint ventures. So really being clear on what is the transformational promise, and then you can figure out, like, how you do that. What is the way that you do it? What do you have a group program? Do you work with people one-on-one? Do you have a podcast where people can go and listen to different segments of the show? Again, getting really clear on that piece of it. And then you were about to ask something.
Yeah, I love when you speak about soulful offers. This is, for any business, there are just, one of the key elements is, what do you offer, right? And offer is one of the main elements of any business. And then offer and people who you're offering that to. So how do people tune in and understand if, like, let's say they're multi-talented, they're multi-passionate, how to niche down and how to really create that soulful offer that will speak to their ideal clients?
Usually it's learning your own customer journey and figuring out how that applies to what is your customer journey. So I have a process. Anybody who joins, I can share that with creating your own hero's journey. And by you going through the steps and you figuring out where you are and how you want to show up for other people. A great example, my wife went through breast cancer in 2016. She was diagnosed. And after going through that, she wanted to create a brand about celebrate you first. That self-care, which was, I love that was the very first step that Terry shared, because so many people include that at the end if they're able to, but being able to really focus on that. But her concern with creating Celebrate You First was that she was continually reliving the story of the breast cancer, even if it was a positive light. That wasn't where she wanted to focus. So she changed it to the Florida Fun family and really built that direction instead, because that was really more aligned with the direction she wanted to go. So you want to really know that you're helping the people in a way that will be sustaining for you. You want to make sure that you have the oxygen mask on yourself, but that you're doing stuff that that you're passionate about and can keep doing. And people that are caregivers are it's such an important role, and you need to be able to know how to receive the care as well. So if you are showing up in that way, you want to be able to again leverage it in a way where you can sustain. I know lots of nurses, healthcare practitioners who burn out very early, and the energy that they're showing up with is dwindling. The flame inside, because of not being able to create the right leverage of their time, their energy, and everything else. And so when we talk about an offer, one is the transformational promise, but then that's the benefits. In sales, we call it benefits. And then the deliverables are the features. It's how do you create that transformation? So you have to be able to create a container for yourself that serves your people, but also serves you. So you want to make sure that, again, one of the reasons people create group coaching programs is because they can help more people at a certain level than they can when they're working one-on-one, where you can go much deeper. So you have to be able to, again, create a container that works for both you and the people that you serve as part of your offer. And then there are other elements of a soulful offer. But to me, those are the two most important parts of the benefits that you're offering, which is the transformation. And then the features is how you do that. And how you do that not only serves your client, but it has to also serve you.
This is beautiful. Absolutely. It's a win-win for you and your client. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So again, those are kind of the benefits and how we can do it. We want to have our offer first, and then we also want to have systems and structures. And again, for us woo-woo people, sometimes systems and structures feels like it's confining. It feels like the technology might be cumbersome. It's something to learn. And what I have learned is that structure creates freedom. So by setting up the right systems and having the right people on your team, and your team is like the higher stuff, the strategy and the figuring things out, kind of the mentor part. But then there's also the getting it done part, having a VA or somebody that helps you with the actual technology. The more you can be focused on your skills and your genius zone, and having other people that you can delegate out to do the rest, I think the faster that we can all move. And then the last piece, again, having building your own platform. To me, the real transformation that's going to come to make the changes that we all want to make does come through community. And so to see yourself as a leader, it may not be leading a large community. You don't have to think of yourself as building an empire, but your community could be a group of 10 people. You could have a small mastermind of people that are people that you're close to. It could be even your family, and it could be people inside of a Facebook group. But whoever your people are, you defining who that is and you being the leader of that community. And even if it starts out as showing up as a leader in somebody else's community, I believe that practicing leadership and being inside a community are the two most powerful ways to create the change that we want.
Amazing. This is so good, Mark. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't see any questions, and we still have some time. So now, can we talk about growing that community? So there's an inner game in, when we talk about business, there's always an inner game and there is outer strategies. How do you merge that inner game, connecting energetically, seeing your vision, knowing what you want to create, with those external strategies when you build your community?
So there's a couple things that are coming up for me. I do love that idea too about the inner and the outer game. I mentioned before, to me, I see my business as one of the most powerful tools for personal development. That, along with being in a relationship. Fortunately, I have a marriage of 22 years, and that's another wonderful tool to learn about myself. And then the third one is parenting, as being a father of boy and girl twins at 14. These are all, again, ways of developing myself. And so each of those things I approach both first with my heart and then with my head, having a strategy to support what my heart is leading towards. So for me, it starts off with what actually goes back to what Terry was talking about. Like my strategy for attracting everything that I want in my life, the partners, the clients that I'm here to serve, really is about what I call the ABCs of relationship marketing. And it's also what I call conscious alignment. So practicing conscious alignment starts with one, understanding that we're always going to learn more about who we are. So it's a lifelong process of personal development. And like I said, these are the three tools that I use for personal development. But whatever it is, you could be in schools, you can be a student of academia, of art, but to always be learning as a tool for learning about yourself. So you're always learning more about who you are. We're never there. We're never enlightened. And then all of a sudden, oh, we're enlightened. We don't have anything else to learn about us. The second piece goes back to what Terry was saying. The most powerful tool that you can use in your business, the most powerful strategy is inner work. It is your intuition. So you being able to tap into your inner guidance. As a man, that was one of the things I was very, very resistant to for a long time. I thought women just naturally had it. In 2013, I first invested in my True Purpose Institute's Connecting to Your Divine Purpose program, where I was literally learning about intuition. And what I realized was I was getting the intuition, I just wasn't trusting it. So learning how to trust that intuition, learning whatever, I use embodied intuition. I get a feeling inside. Some people use muscle testing or pendulums or journaling, whatever it is. To me, that second step is the most important part of being able to know, having that inner guidance and being able to trust that so that you can take the third step, which goes back right to, again, what Terry was saying, which is that taking aligned action. She called it inspired action. I love that. Again, that's what following your inner guidance. And then so many times we're like, oh, I should have done that. I've never regretted a thing that I've done, even if it didn't get the outcome that I wanted, because it got me where I needed to go. But I have regretted not doing something because I didn't get an opportunity that could have led me where I needed to be. So being able to trust that intuition and then take inspired action, that you're actually doing something. For me, I didn't even have the feedback loop in there, but I love that Terry again added that in there. For me, the feedback loop is just going back again to the intuition. So when you take this inspired action, no matter what the response is, then you get a reaction from that, and how you respond to the results that you got then leads again to the next thing of, okay, what is the guidance? And then what is the action? So to me, that is the feedback loop is a three-part piece, but I love how well that felt fit with what Terry was saying. And when I was first hearing Terry say it, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be redundant and say it again. But one of the things my mentor said was that sometimes people need to hear the same thing from different people at different times. So hopefully that, again, complemented what Terry had already shared.
I love this. I love we are in this beautiful container where we listen to each other. And, you know, Terry's talk was about listening, and Mark is doing an amazing job at listening and then sharing more. And this is beautiful.
And so you were asking about like a tangible thing. So that's the beginning of it, is listening to the inside and the inner game. Something that people can actually do is to create their own dream list. This is the people that you want to partner with in whatever way. They could be people that you want to have clients, or people that you want to be on their podcast, or people that you want to promote you. But the people that you want in your sphere, you want to have a partner list, and you can keep adding to it and keep adding to it. And then eventually it's almost like a vision board for people that you want to attract into your life. And then what are the actions that you can take? You'll get guidance of saying, oh, look, that person just popped up. They're having an event. Maybe I should just show up there. And then you show up in their audience and you're communicating and you shine your light and you're seen there. But I highly recommend getting out and actually showing up, following your inner guidance. I forgot where I was leading with that.
Absolutely. The guidance. Well, for me, it's really, you know, when you're connected to your vision, to your heart's vision, to your desired vision, that inner guidance is always there. It's just if we're
Mm.
open to it, if we're listening, if we're trusting it, if we're taking aligned actions, everything that Terry and you are talking about, it's all within. So we are just learning to navigate this beautiful, complex external world just through tuning in and listening and trusting and taking actions and actually receiving whatever we desire to create. So that's a little woo-woo talk from me.
It is, and it seems woo, and to me, again, it is really, really actionable. Like being able to listen in, you will get the action steps, and sometimes you'll get stuff that is like, oh, this is an opportunity, and you'll know that it's a shiny object. So this is another thing that tuning in, because there's lots of different opportunities, there's lots of different information. People could be a lot of different places, but they're here because they followed their intuition. And then each time you want to listen, like, oh, that sounds good, and I can incorporate that in. And is it the right time right now? So when you talk about actual application of strategy, I love having a dream list and listening for the opportunity for when I might be able to make the connection. But in the meantime, I'm listening to the guidance of what's coming in, and that it builds the actual tangible strategy. And that's the bridge between the spiritual and the practical.
Absolutely. And in business, now more than ever, we are connecting the spiritual nature of us with practical tools, 3D tools. It's the merger of this 4-5D consciousness, the expansion of our consciousness with practical 3D reality, right? Because we chose to play in this physical playground. So we better know what tools to use.
Absolutely. And it's funny because as you talk about tools, there's so many AI tools out there, and I love AI. I'm a huge proponent that it is not, the more dependent we become
Mm,
on technology, including AI, the more valuable human connection becomes. And so
yeah.
that's what we have to do, is to be able to use these tools, but use them like Zoom. People are like, oh no, I want to connect in person. Well, I want to connect in person too, but I wouldn't have been able to connect with you and everybody else that's here in person today and do all the other things. So I love technology, but we want to use it to build human connection, not to divide and separate.
This is brilliant. I love that. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Mark.
My pleasure.
Now, Mark, how can people find you? Can you also speak more about your free gift? I don't think
Sure.
it's free, but it's a gift, right? I think you've mentioned there is a price there.
I don't think so. So I believe, and I apologize because I have several different talks, but I've got my Soulful Leadership Roadmap, which is free. It does
Okay,
have the
perfect.
discern process,
This
if
is the
that's what
link I
you've got a
received.
link for.
So, yeah, is this Mastering Our Strategic Alliance?
Yes.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect.
that's actually a training that will lead with the book. So you'll get both of those. This was a paid training, but you'll get it for free. Everybody will get this access to this.
Amazing. Thank you. Sorry, I guess I misread your message, but this
No,
is
no, no. I again apologize, but yes, so they will have the free training, which is similar to what I just shared right now, with details, pictures, and action steps, as well as the discern process, so that people can download that themselves.
love it. Beautiful. Any final words of inspiration for our community?
One is really my vision for humanity is that we all see ourselves and each other as divine beings and live with that wisdom. The biggest thing is really to know that who you're being is the greatest contribution that you have to humanity. Don't keep your light hidden under a basket. Get out there and shine.
Amazing. I love that. Let's give Mark a round of applause. I see hearts. I see people applauding. Amazing. Mark, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for putting this together. I really appreciate what you're doing and grateful to be a part of it.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Before I introduce our next beautiful speaker, and I think she's here. Yes, Dr. Miller Hall. So good to see you. I'm sharing with you my next key for amplifying the power of your heart, and that is connecting to the abundant nature of your heart. You see, we're looking for abundance outside of us, but it's all within. It's right in our heart. So when we connect to that abundance within and when we embody it, that's when we actually see that abundance as a mirror of our physical reality. So our heart is that beautiful abundant space which you can connect to at any given moment of your day. All right. And with that, I want to introduce my beautiful friend, Dr. Amira Hall, who is here with us today. Amira, welcome.
Thank you so much. What a delight and a nice way to celebrate our veterans at the same time.
Wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Amira, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, that would be amazing.
First off, thank you for having me and thank you for holding this space. I'm really filled with a lot of joy just because of you holding this space. So yeah, I started my journey, well, over 40 years ago, but the cosmic 2x4 hit me 24 years ago. I was a successful sales executive. I was a six-figure income earner, but there was something missing. I was looking for that heart connection. And I went on a spiritual pilgrimage to Egypt. While I was in Egypt, a lot of wonderful things happened, and I experienced deeper levels of understanding of maybe the universe and my role in it. But I had a near-death experience that rocked my world. And when I came back to the US, I couldn't function. I was stuck in a void or a frequency of depression and anger and fear. And my first inkling was to say, I don't want to come back here to the US because that's the place that's so filled with all of these energies. I come to find out that it was me that was trapped and I was living in that realm. And I was stuck there for another 9 months about. I went on a journey to find out what happened to me. Because as I isolated, as I pushed everybody that I cared about and loved, I got fired. So I literally lost everything, including the sense of who I was. But simultaneously, what had happened was that my clairvoyance opened, and I didn't really understand what was going on, except that it was like for me stepping into a cantina scene in the Star Wars movie. You know, I was like so freaked out, so many things I could see. I wanted to understand what it was, but more than that, I wanted my old life back. So I embarked on a journey to learning how to get that back. And lo and behold, I started getting interviews again. And I was applying for those six-figure roles, but 3 times in a row, I wouldn't be selected. And now I was really pissed at God, right? So I was huffing and puffing at 3 in the morning and mad as hell at the universe. I thought I was doing everything right and getting my energy all in alignment. But it really was a path for me to step aside onto a new path. And I was resisting it. And so that path has led me to where I'm at today, 24 years of me helping people disseminate and, release the energetic blocks that are blocking them from being all and more of who they really are and learning how to be in that flow. So what in the process of all that, I started getting downloads. And the message from my near-death experience was pure and simple. And again, 24 years ago, we didn't have the internet. So I wasn't really up on what this all meant. And I was trying to navigate like blindfolded in the dark void. But the message and the information I got was that I am energy and that everything was energy. I started to understand within time that I was seeing into the quantum field. And I didn't understand it, but I learned some techniques and some tools to decipher and to really back to the message was that I could see in a life review that all of my difficulties, everything was created from stuck energy. And my emotions that were stuck, the trauma, all previous experiences that I was still attached to, they were creating dis-ease in my life. They were creating the dysfunction in my life. They were creating destruction to my relationships, my health, my career, you name it. And so when I started to understand that and keep it really simple and learning and applying some techniques that I downloaded, some of them I learned in my own path, that was revolutionary for me. And that was the really the pivotal. I don't know if it was a moment, because it took time. It's not, we wish it would be happening really fast, but darn it, it takes a little bit of time. And, this human experience, this 3D experience, is challenging when we're trying to, well, access that heart space of ours, because when we're in that connection of the heart, we're congruent with all that is. It's not analyzing. It's not the analytical part of us. And for us, we've all been well trained to analyze and intellectualize everything. I'm real good at it. And, hey, it's part of who we are too. And so to embrace that. So basically for the last 24 years, I've been teaching people how to get congruent, how to clear the energies that they're not, that we've all been, adding up the scores of things that happened to us and maybe things we heard, and they've been limiting us. They've been keeping us down. We haven't been able to play, our A game. And so whatever that is from each of us, I think being enthusiastic, being passionate, being alive, and even if you're not happy with the politics of the day, right, or the company you're with, there's a way to circumvent that. And that's the secret, is getting there when we're down.
I mean,
And
I always love to hear your story, Amira, and it's so inspiring. What would you like to teach our audience today?
okay, let's dive right into it. So it's one of these techniques. I basically teach people how to access the quantum field. So if we just close our eyes for a moment and give yourself a big breath in, whew, and let it out, and just let those shoulders drop. I know I'm feeling your energy. I'm seeing the anticipation. I'm seeing some of you are resistant. Some of you are so eager that you're right in my space. So I'm just going to ask you to pull back your energy field to arm's length around you. And the first thing I teach people is how to manage their energy and understand more of what they are. So bringing it in arm's length around you can actually help you be in the flow, because it's not scattered all over hell's acres. So as you breathe, imagine a little gold ball in the center of your head. Just imagine that you can see it and pretend you're in kindergarten. And that's not to put anyone down. It's more simple we keep it and playful, the more profound and easier it is. So let that little gold ball now roll down into your heart. And notice that little gold ball getting bigger and growing and pulsing. And it begins to expand, filling that entire fourth chakra, your heart center. That space that connects the mind with the body, or your spirit with your body. The upper realms with the lower density realms. And as that little gold ball begins to expand, filling your entire chest and torso, imagine a small version of yourself sitting inside what I call a star tetrahedron. And basically what that is two stars, or pardon me, pyramids. So you have one pyramid superimposed over the other, and one pyramid with the point facing upwards, and the other pyramid with the point facing downwards. So you've got this star tetrahedron, and you're sitting with a glowing heart center in the center of the star tetrahedron. And breathe. Just acknowledging with the thoughts you created this incredible powerhouse, a machine. Let's call it our heart AI. I call it a star tetrahedron heart activation. And now imagine those pyramids, the star tetrahedron, this top portion begins to rotate clockwise. And the bottom pointing pyramid begins spinning counterclockwise. So you have these opposing shapes, geometry that's beginning to create a force field all around your physical body. And as you do that, gently allow that heart-centered glow of golden light begin to expand, filling the entire star tetrahedron. As your entire body becomes illuminated with this golden light, inside this powerful vortex of glowing light expanding into the universe. And the connection with all that you desire is activated. And as you're sitting in this glowing light, you're welcome to open your eyes and just allow that golden light and the force field around you to continue to grow with your awareness present and in the moment. It doesn't go away when you open your eyes, but you can bring it back at any time if you do lose track. A lot of sparkles going on here. Oh, come on back, y'all. Have you gone into another orbit?
It was so beautiful. Thank you.
I see a comment here. I have a star tetrahedron right behind me over the right eye, right shoulder. That's fantastic. So I hope you brought it in from above the right shoulder into your heart. Yeah. Sacred geometry has been known through ancient time for its power and beyond the symbols. I think when we step into it and own it and be it, it's pretty profound. I'd love to hear from you guys what you noticed.
For me personally, one of those geometries wasn't spinning. Does it mean something? The internal one was spinning, but the big one wasn't.
So one will spin inside the other. Okay,
Yes.
so one goes this. So I would say that there may be some resistance there. What I would do is simply explode it and start again.
Got it.
So sometimes it's our perception, sometimes it's a resistance, maybe outside, could have been the dynamics of our group here. I don't know where everybody's at and what's going on. Of course, it helps when we have a little more time to step into that, right? To clear your energy space before you get into that real divine pump or push. But it can happen anytime, anywhere. So, the quicker, look, when I teach the tools I teach, it's not one of those things that, yes, they're drive-through, but it does take some time for our humanness to catch up with the power and the quickness of it. So we slow it down. It's not that the tool isn't working. Sometimes it's our perception and our need to believe and connect with it. I call that the analyzer it really puts it in a cubby hole because we've got limited expectation, or our expectations are based on previous experience. But if we don't know what to expect, that can also put a block on it. So the more we can get into the flow and sort of coax our spirit to coming closer to the body, we can have much more transmutive, spontaneous experiences.
Absolutely. We have a question. I had trouble figuring out what size these things should be.
That's a great question, but guess what? That's your analyzer trying to figure it out. Your spirit already knows, right? And so, like I said, if we pretend that we're in kindergarten, doesn't matter, right? You can color a lady's face blue and it doesn't matter, right? Because you're just a kid and you're learning. And so if we played like that, then it's actually going to be a little more, I think, a lot more powerful. Does that make sense? Did I help with that? So it's like, do it again. Maybe you'll be surprised when you just finally let go and really just allow it to be amplified. No, it's going to be perfect, just the way it is.
Yes. Mark is sharing that he loves how, let's see, hold on, my comment just went up. He loves the feeling of being in the light. This is a powerful tool for clearing and expansion. Absolutely.
Well, I think we forget I too. And I'm continually, by telling my story, it helps me to remember because I remember being the light. There was no separation. And one aspect of the experience was that I found myself, like, the best way I can describe it is in a moving, spinning kaleidoscope of color. And I remember asking, where am I? And my guide said to me, this is love. This is the fabric of all creation. Now, of course, my humanness separates from that and forgets that. And it's now our job to know and remember, yes, we're light, but it's moving patterns. And those patterns are what we're challenged to not eliminate so much, but transmute, like those fears and those beliefs and those blocks that we've got. That is the patterns that are continually moving. So it's complicated, but so we got to start somewhere simple. And that's where I start with my tools because, you know, we're human. And so our analytical mind will take over all the time. And remembering that we are light, we are love. And that energy is creating everything that we experience. Now, how do we step aside and analytically say, well, I'm light, that's right. And you can say a mantra all you want till the cows come home, but until you embody it, and that's one step, I think, going into meditation, we can practice being it and remembering who we are. We are remembering that we are these powerhouses that want to shine and being that embodiment of light. Guess what? That's our job, period, to understand and know who we are. We're energy, we're light, we're love. And when we're congruent with that, just being, I think your previous speaker said something about being, well, guess what? Everybody else gets permission to be. And that leadership, that divine representation gives everybody that domino. It just keeps going and so on, the ripple of all of us stepping into that divineness. So that's it, folks.
I love that. I'm somehow keeping the awareness of this separate pyramid spinning in my background. Is that temporary? Dirk is asking.
Well, why would it be in the background, Dirk? I'd like to see if you could have it and be in it.
Yeah, what I meant by background, I meant actually by, it's somehow within me. It keeps
Yeah,
on
okay, good.
going. It is not stopping. Is that okay?
What? That's your analyzer asking the question. I would say,
Yes.
kudos. That's the
Yeah,
practice.
yes. Yeah, okay.
Is
No,
being awake and aware and carrying it with you. Go to the grocery store, drive down the road. Being present, though, not going into the meditative state and leaving the body. Yeah.
It actually quite generating. It's quite a field generating. It's sort of a
it's a field
sort of
generator. It's an AI.
It's a field generator.
Yeah,
I can. As the first time experiencing this. Okay, good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're so welcome.
Amira, if you could speak a little bit more about the sacred geometry, I would love, like personally me, I would love to know more, because when I meditate, I see all this geometry. I just don't know what it is, how to use it. And then if you could also tell us, how can we apply this in the context of our business, soul-led business?
You are your business.
I am my business, yes.
So the more time we spend on being congruent, being in alignment with who we are. And hey, like I said, it does take time. I mean, there is no way around it because we are in 3D and there are time restrictions, but being committed, I think, and really, there's ebbs and there's flows, there's good times with it and bad times. There's times when I wanted to walk away from all of it, I gotta admit. Right? But it does take the practice. It does take the commitment. Every time I wanted to quit and stop doing it, I was dragged back, and realized the power that it is, and the simplicity is incredibly important. And I think the other thing is being able to apply them day to day in everything we do, washing the dishes, driving down the freeway, picking your kids up from school, everything. So, does that help answer that? I mean,
it does.
I kind of got out of my body for a minute. I got dragged into
I love that.
into the energy field of the dynamic of the vortex of the activation. Yeah, so I am not the expert on sacred geometry. I've studied a lot of it. I'm kind of a bottom line girl, and can I cuss?
Yeah.
Give me shit that's works, okay, and fast. I don't want to over intellectualize. Even guys, I've been to Egypt 13 times, okay? It kept driving me back there, and committed to the non-physical realm. I'm aware of the cube and the cube's representation. I studied alchemy and the ancient school of, it's called BOTA, BOTA, and you can check it out online. And they have a series of online classes, but it teaches you from various phases. And one of the classes is geometry or sacred geometry. Now, the cube sticks out in my mind because it's all about being practical. It's also represented by the tarot card, right? The emperor. But what the cube is the most strong, I think it's the strongest geometric shape there is. It's grounded, it's practical, it's solid, it's tangible, right? And so we have to bring these things to answer your question, into purpose, right? So for me, I spent a lot of time in trying to be grounded, my effort and attention, and also the non-physical information, spiritual energy and force fields into 3D. That's my Amira purpose. I'm not here to be the teacher that's going to teach you like Billy, what's his name? The black guy that's on, I don't know if he's on Ancient Aliens, but so that's not me. I'm not that professor that can spout off all that stuff, right? So check out BOTA, but there's some, just, start the search on sacred geometry,
I will.
Yeah, and I apologize if I'm not that girl for you.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
It's just like my personal question. Absolutely.
Yeah, the most important thing is for us as a spirit to be present, because none of this stuff is going to work for us, increasing our abundance, being able to land that dream job or start that dream business, if we're not able to be focused, clear. And I think simple helps, and maybe I'm overly practical sometimes, but I think being simple helps minimize all the complications of this. Like, I don't have to know how electricity operates to be able to turn on the light. That's me.
Right.
I want, bottom line, give it to me fast. As fast as possible, right? Yes, I have to roll up the sleeves. I have to do the work. I have to commit. I have to get quiet. And our monkey minds are so freaking distracted with every bloody message we get on our phone to all the things that we have to do to run businesses, it becomes really hard to be that light in the star tetrahedron.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
I
You're
mean,
answering my
so-
questions right here.
yeah, so how do we do that? Get back to the cube, get grounded. That's the very first tool I teach my clients. How to be grounded, how to be present, how to be aware. And then the second tool I teach is how to have a clear mind, how to focus, how to, get specific information through clarity. And third thing is how to replenish ourselves, because we're just scattered, we're running here to there. And just imagine every chair you've ever sat in, you've left some of your energy. Every website you've opened, you've left some of your energy there.
Yeah.
It's not good or bad, anybody. Somebody's got that in their mind. It's not good or bad. And so it's just a matter of reclaiming these energies, remembering who we are, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And then and I'm happy to share my stress buster. Okay, I call it stress buster. My gift to you today is what I call an energy shower, stress buster. It's a technique and a tool, a visualization that will guide you through the process of using energies to clear your channels. Okay, you'll find that you'll be more receptive, more open, more grounded. That's the goal. Have more clarity. And you won't have this spiky, frenzied vibe that is pushing people and your dreams away. The idea is to be, again, a clear vessel, but also not a spiky. It's to be approached or to be, for people to want to come closer, right? For all of us to connect. So that's what that tool will help you do.
I love it. I just shared it in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Who wants to download it? Feel
It's
free.
only 15 minutes, okay? So you don't have to meditate hours and hours. In fact, if you are, I'd say stop, get some shit done, go do other things, make it practical, go walk along the lake or something. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a long time to do the work. Like, how many people spend 15 minutes in a shower? I mean, maybe some do. My sister was really good at that, but you don't need a long time to do the job. You just need to be focused.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you, Amira.
You're so welcome.
Do we have any questions for Amira? That was great. Thank you. Yeah, Jen is saying beautiful.
Oh, everybody's got it down, huh?
Yes, I see all the hearts.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Any final words of inspiration for our community today? Amira.
Shine bright.
Mm.
There's no limits. Just shine bright. You already know how. These tools will help you get there.
There are no limits. I love that. We're unlimited. Amazing. Thank you. Let's give Amira a round of applause. Thank you so much, Amira, for being with us today. Thank you for shining your light.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you for all your generous demonstration of light and love as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I receive it. Thank you so much. All right. Before we move to Raquel Reina is here with us, our final speaker. I can't wait to hear more about human design and how that applies to our heart-centered leadership. I want to share with you the 6th key to unlocking your heart. And that is really releasing all on the spectrum that is blocking us to fully open up our heart. And that is resentment, judgment, criticism, fear. There is a spectrum where there's, at the end of the spectrum, there's love. At the end of the other end of the spectrum is what? Hatred, fear. So to move to the pure frequency of love, we got to clear all the resentment, all the hurt, all the judgment, all the criticism we have built and we have kept inside of our hearts and minds and bodies. So one of the very simple tools that I use to really clear all the low negative energies, I would just take them through this breath of fire. I would connect to that low vibrational energy and I would just breathe it out. And I would just feel that, the exhale is that exhale of fire. So you will feel instantly, in a second, so much lighter, so much more expanded, and so much more expanded in your love and light. So try that. Breath of fire. Just burn any low vibrational frequencies through your breath to connect to that love energy, which is at the spectrum, at the end of the spectrum. Okay. All right, Raquel, my friend, welcome, welcome. Let me pin you to the screen. Amazing. Welcome to the Power of Heart-Centered Leadership.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
So great to have you. Could you please share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am a human design teacher. I call myself a radical human design teacher, but really more than that, I bridge the spiritual awakening, the spiritual plus the practical into the human design knowledge. So I started really with my spiritual awakening and had so many extreme experiences that I had a very hard time grounding and creating a life that I loved, that was spiritual, but that was also financially lucrative. So I had a real battle figuring out how to live on this earth plane, how to be grounded, how to have success. And so it was either having these spiritual experiences or stuffing them down and having my career. So I did work in corporate for a while. And then when I was trying to leave corporate, I wanted to have a career that really felt real to me, felt true to me, and bring my spiritual gifts back into my life. And so human design was the tool that helped me to practically create a life that I really loved, that I could manage, and to create my career. So it was a really, really important tool for me. And so that's why I'm so passionate to bring it forward for people and to integrate it into manifestation, into spiritual work, into spiritual development, and helping people create lives that are correct for them.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us today. What would you like to teach our audience today, Raquel?
Well, it's really about this missing piece. I feel that it's the missing piece that many people may not know in how we're utilizing manifestation, how we're utilizing our soul gifts. And to me, that missing piece was when I found out that I was a projector in human design. So I'm just curious, I don't really know everybody here, and you guys may or may not know me, but I'm just curious how many of you do know what your human design is? Do you know what your aura type is? Yeah, some of you. Some of you. That's exciting. So I'm a splenic projector. I don't know if you guys know which type you are. But if you do, let me know. Let me know in the chats. Generators, manifesting generators, generator. Okay, good, good, good. If you don't know, you can always grab your free chart on our website, RaquelAndDavidian.com. That's my husband. We work together, and you can grab your free chart just to kind of find out which aura type you are. And so I am a projector, and the way we operate is so different than most of the world. And generators, they operate also differently than manifestors. So most people want to be manifestors, and really so the terms can be confusing because we all are extreme manifestors. That's what we do. We manifest. The difference is, are you conscious of what you are manifesting? And what human design is doing is saying we all manifest differently. Each person manifests with a different strategy. And when you utilize your unique strategy, then you start to have success in life. So this was the piece for me that was really missing. So really what we're going to kind of talk about today, and what I wanted to bring forward to all of you, was how to utilize this piece, this uniqueness, into all of your spiritual gifts, into what you're manifesting in the world, what you're bringing forward, and kind of helping people to practically utilize the tools that maybe you've learned today and maybe you're integrating in your life. And I know for me, I work with a lot of different spiritual practitioners. Maybe they do Reiki, maybe they're psychics, maybe they're dream analysts, maybe they're pet psychics. Like there's so many gifts that people have. And so wherever you are, this little piece kind of meets you exactly where you're at. And the idea is to feel into where you are uniquely you and where you're utilizing the not self. So in human design, we say that wherever you're not acting as your true self, you're absorbing and amplifying the not self theme. And so the not self is led by frustration, anger, bitterness, and disappointment. So when you have those themes running in your life, if you're trying to build a career that you love, trying to step into leadership, trying to heal, trying to build wealth, if you're initiating and you find yourself in a bitter cycle, in a frustration cycle, it's usually because something in your human design isn't activated. So there's nothing wrong with you. You're not doing manifestation wrong. You're not, the tools you're doing may not even be wrong. It's just that based on the uniqueness of who you are, you may not be operating in alignment with your truth. And because we're all conditioned out of our truth, almost everyone's operating against themselves to some little degree. So that's kind of the basis for, foundational piece of how to integrate the spiritual with the human design. Do you want me to keep going?
Yes, please keep going. That was amazing. Of course. If you could go into, how we can take those unique keys and apply them to really grow our impact-driven businesses, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to touch in and see if you had something specific you wanted me to dive into. So, yes, absolutely. So basically, when we are moving into the aura type, so let me just kind of go into this just a little so I can give each of you something that you can take with you today, something based in this knowledge that you can absorb and take with you. So each of the aura types operates just a little bit differently. So for me, when I was in corporate, I was trying to get out of the corporate model. I wanted a career that felt spiritual, that felt like it was using my gifts. What I was doing is I was initiating and taking action, because that's what I thought that the law of attraction, I thought, was feeling the vibration, feeling the frequency, and then taking action on our goals. And so that's what I was doing. And what was happening was I would invest in high-end programs. I would get really excited. I would do these launches and nothing worked for me. And I was like, I'm never going to get out of the corporate model. I'm never going to create a career, based on what I love. And I found out at that moment that I was a projector. And what you learn from the aura type of projector is that we are not here to initiate. Now, it doesn't mean, and I see a couple of you are projectors, so you can let me know if you relate to this. It doesn't mean that you're not going to manifest your dream. It just means that you need to do it a little bit differently. And I'm going to talk about generators too, because I see we have a lot of generators and manifesting generators and projectors. So I don't see any manifestors, but anyone listening to the replay or the recording, I'll be happy to touch in. And the free gift that I'm giving you all is the little bit more deep dive on human design and law of attraction and how to merge those two together. It's kind of a workshop that takes you through because, like I said, my path, I also have a master's degree in spiritual psychology. So I did 10 years of therapy, spiritual work. I worked with shamans. I traveled all over the world. I did a lot of spiritual work, and I still couldn't build wealth and build a career that felt correct for me. And so after trying so many things, when I realized this one teeny little piece to the puzzle, and the reason I give you my background is because I tried a lot of things. I tried everything. I was like, nothing's working for me. And I did a lot of deep inner work as well. And so when I found out and realized that as a projector, we are here to wait for that invitation, to wait for recognition, it was like my entire world began to open up. Now, it did take me some time because we're trained to be generators. We're trained out of our truth. Now, for all of you generators here, you're trained to be manifestors. So generators are trained to live as a manifester. So projectors are trained to live as generators. So basically, for everyone who has the aura type of a generator, you are here not to live in the aura field of going out and making something happen. Just do it mentality, really. That's what we're all kind of trained to believe is a technique in manifesting. So even my spiritual clients, they have downloads, they have awakening, and then they're taught to utilize that vibration, that frequency, and then move with inspiration. So generators and manifesting generators have a unique strategy for their aura. And once they learn this piece, I've seen so many generators living in frustration, not being able to create what they want to create, bumping up against obstacles. When they implement this one little strategy, everything begins to shift for the generator. And this includes manifesting generators, okay? So generators and manifesting generators have a similar strategy, we call it. And the strategy is to wait to respond. I don't know if anyone's here has ever heard how that operates, but when you are spiritual, wait to respond. Yes, exactly. So let me explain it. When you are a spiritual being, okay, you may meditate, you may activate, you may do the breath of fire. I love breath of fire. I love all these tools. And then if you're really going towards manifesting something, so our MGs, they're the main difference between an MG and a generator is MGs are fast, really, really fast. And they have competing ideas. They have, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And they have so many hot ideas. And then they're taught to niche down and pick one. But MGs, you don't need to pick one. You don't need to niche down. Okay. So this is why I love this. It's like one little piece of information and like, boom, your life changes. It's so good. So MGs, you have like a million inspirations and you write them all down, get really excited, and then you have to watch. When I say wait to respond, here's what I mean is that you watch for the synchronicities and you become like a detective. So when my husband was trying to decide, he's a generator, trying to decide whether he wanted to integrate his hypnosis, he said, show me 108. Like he picked a number. And he's emotional. So emotional is not spontaneous. So everywhere he looked, he saw 108, 108, 108. It became this magic insight for him. And he realized he needed to integrate that hypnotherapy into his practice and into what he was doing. And so you can learn how the universe is speaking to you. Sometimes if you have a lot of synchronicities, you get a lot of angel numbers, you get the 111, but you don't know what it means and you don't really know how it's speaking to you, like human design breaks it down so that you can read what it's telling you and then what you do about it. And so he's emotional. I'm in the moment. I'm splenic. He's slow. And so these little pieces helped us with our relationship, understanding how the other person operated, understanding that we're so different in this way, understanding just those little pieces of how you operate can transform not just your career and your business into business success, but also your relationships and how you understand other people and how you work with other people. So it's really just a profound, profound insight. Jen says, I just can't manifest. Yeah. So that's what it is. It's like finding out just your strategy. So I would recommend just learning your strategy and inner authority. By the way, I also do have 2 books. I'm an author of 2 books. My second book just came out in October. And so if you feel like you want kind of like the step-by-step, like detail going through it, both of my books, you can actually see them up there. One is Are You a Mutant or Illuminating Human Design? They kind of give you a step-by-step. Some people learn through videos, some people need books, but if you are kind of getting inspired and you're like, I don't know how to manifest, it's good to know your strategy and your inner authority, and both those books kind of break it down for you. I go through very in-depth. So whichever strategy, whoops, there goes my microphone, whichever strategy you have, you can just pick it and learn it a little bit more and go deeper. And something I can't do in 20 minutes, but can kind of give you the next piece to the puzzle if you feel like I can't manifest. What's wrong with me? Why isn't this working? It might be your human design. It changes the game. It literally changes the game.
We have another question from Damien. I have initiated projects, but then I learned my strategy is supposed to answer. What you will advise? Damien,
Wait, say that again?
Are you a generator? I have initiated projects, but then I learned that my strategy is supposed to be to answer. I think he's a generator, right?
To answer.
What
Well,
will you advise?
yeah, which strategy? So to answer, okay, so if you're a manifestor, it might be to inform. So informing is the manifestor. So if you're a manifestor, because you're the generators are to respond, the manifestors are to inform. So that might be what you're referring to. And the main thing to learn about a manifestor is that most manifestors, so everything is a little bit backwards, right? So manifesting generator. Okay, so the manifesting generator needs to inform before responding. So there's just a little nuance in that. But the hardest piece for a manifesting generator is because they're so fast, they have a hard time with the first part of that strategy, which is to wait. So they're moving very fastly. They're very busy. Fastly is not a word. Sorry about that. But you know what I mean? You're moving. And sometimes, or you're burned out. So I've seen that too with manifesting generators because their aura is so intense, they may have burned out. So those are a couple of things that you might want to look at if you've burned out or if you're moving too fast and you don't wait. So what the waiting means is not that you do nothing, you're not sitting on the couch eating the Doritos. That's not it. It's that you move into a place of stillness and you're watching for the synchronicities before you really move forward on an action. It will save you years. I've seen manifesting generators just take action on something in the wrong direction and plow through it. Oh, I got to do it. And then it either causes burnout or the wrong thing. And then it causes frustration and then they can't manifest. So it's kind of unraveling that first. And again, I do walk through that in my book, Illuminating Human Design, and it kind of spells it out in that way too. If you really want the step-by-steps, I recommend it. I'm telling you, for, you know, whatever path you're on, this is the personal assessment tool. If you guys have ever looked at any personal assessment tools, it's the one on steroids. It'll literally give you so much guidance, and it works. It's an experiment. Every single one of my clients has incredible results, not just because of me, but the system really, when you integrate it, it works. So yeah, it will really help if you can learn how to wait first. Self-care is energetically important for MDs. Yes, well, actually for every type, for sure, every single type. The self-care piece for projectors is live or die. I mean, it's live or die. And so it's really I mean, we know self-care is so important. It's how we take action, that self-care for every type, take action differently based on your uniqueness. So we all are uniquely designed to take action in a new way, in a different way, particularly if you're not having the results you want. Because if somebody intuitively, you know, is having results, then you're great. Stick with it. You know what I mean? But if you need a little support, this might be that little missing piece to the puzzle, that can kind of transform everything for you. And it really integrates all of the spiritual teachings. It brings forward. So, for example, I used to believe that I needed to follow my intuition. And some people say, follow your heart, follow what feels good, follow your intuition. Well, in human design, that next level of inner authority is completely different based on which one you have. So, like I was saying, if you're emotional, you cannot make spontaneous decisions. And there are some coaches I've had that said, you know, when you make a spontaneous decision, you're CEO level, you know, and they're forcing people to make spontaneous decisions. If you're emotional, it will never work for you. And so you have to learn if you're spontaneous or if you need to wait over time. These are two different systems. And it's so human design is an experiment. I always recommend anybody that's listening here, there's usually a reason we all gathered together today synchronistically to be here. And if you're getting like, oh, I feel the aha, then commit for 2 weeks and say, I'm going to follow my strategy for 2 weeks and see what happens. See if something radically shifts in your life, because it just might shock you. And then that this whole thing is based on that experiment. It's not based on knowledge. It's not based on book information. It's based on taking it and then experimenting with your life and seeing if something changes, seeing if something shifts, and you will notice it. You will absolutely notice it, especially if the knowledge is for you. It's not for everybody. We all need different tools in life. Everybody has a unique tool and uses different tools. But if this is something you need, experiment for a couple weeks and see what happens in your life. It just might surprise you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Emmy is asking, how can she unlock her abundance? Emmy, what human design are you?
So I do want to let me tell you a little piece about abundance, regardless of which one you are. So I do want to say that there are some aspects of your human design. So for example, if you notice, the abundance piece goes more with the chakra system. So did you guys talk about chakras at all?
We did in the beginning of the event, yes.
Okay. So in human design, they call them centers. And they say that we have 9 centers. So they're very similar to the chakra system, although they're integrated a little bit different in the experiment. You either have a defined or undefined center. And usually the abundance starts in the will center, which is the ego or the heart center. And oftentimes it has to do with self-worth. And if you're undefined, you have real battles with your feeling valuable in order to receive. So it could be that piece.
projector the seer. Did you see that question? Strategy
Yes.
being invited. What is that in action?
Being invited. Okay, so in action, what that means is through recognition. So usually projectors need to master systems. They need to get really good at something. They need to shine their system. So instead of going and chasing, instead of making something happen, they're kind of like the peacock. You know how peacocks pull in, they pull in their mate, is because they shine their feathers, and then it pulls in the recognition. So projectors need to master their systems and be recognized first. If you are pushing and spilling your wisdom and your genius in front of swine, you know the expression, right? Do not cast your pearls before swine. What that's saying is that your genius will not be recognized by everyone. And if you're trying to be seen, trying to be recognized by people who don't get you, it burns you out, wastes your energy, right? So you need to shine your light, see who comes to you, who asks you questions, who wants your mastery, and then projectors, that's how you begin your journey to abundance.
Beautiful.
It's very different.
Yes, I love that. Any other questions? I love that people are asking questions about
I
this.
love the questions. Yeah.
As a manifestor generator, should I get a VA or leverage more often as I get too many ideas?
So that's a great question. And it is a complicated question as far as your business model. I wouldn't give you specific to-dos as far as a VA goes, because I don't know enough about your business. But what I would say as far as the manifesting generator goes, and you could even ask the question, should I get a VA, right? So this is a great example. So you write it down. Should I get a VA? And then waiting to respond means give it like 3 or 4 days, and also let me know what your inner authority is, because that is another piece to it. So strategy, then inner authority. But just with the strategy, give it 3 or 4 days and see if you get a synchronicity. Okay, so maybe you wait 3 or 4 days and somebody says, hey, I just started a VA business. Did you know how cool it is to have a VA? Then it's kind of like the synchronicity piece that says, aha, it's time for a VA, right? So you're watching for the synchronicities before you take the move, before you take the action. And also, I do think it is important to kind of know a little bit of business tools. If you're talking online business, I do think strategy is important. If your business is ready for a VA, sometimes it has to do with split definitions. Like there are a lot of other pieces, but that's like the most basic way to start with your strategy. Integrate it, see if you get the outside confirmation, and then something might pop up for that.
Was Rosabelle, was that helpful? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you. Raquel, if you could share more about your free gift, I will pop it in the chat here. And how can people find you to work with you?
Yes. So the free gift is what I call the test. And it's very much like this experiment, the experiment of bringing human design into the law of attraction, into manifestation. So this is merging these two principles into manifesting the life that you want, the life that you love. And it goes a little bit more deeply into human design business aspects as well. So if you're wanting more business technique-y stuff, that free gift. If you don't know your chart and you're brand new to human design, you can just go straight to our website, Raquel and Davidian Unleash Your Genius, get your free chart. We have tons of videos, free videos too on YouTube, Raquel and Davidian Unleash Your Genius. And so you can kind of, excuse me, check your type, inner authority. You'll get the basic videos on those as well on our YouTube channel. So I really recommend experimenting with it. Even if you're somebody who's like, oh, I knew my aura type, but you haven't really experimented with it yet, commit. take this knowledge and say, I'm so sorry, I need to get a drink of water.
Take your time.
Something in my throat. So take the knowledge and then see how it integrates in your life. And you learn so many tools, and I'm sure you guys learned so many amazing tools and had so many amazing experiences when you do this type of event. Now it's about bringing it into your life and really bringing it forward and integrating it. So the test is a great place to do it, my free gift. But if you've already experimented a little bit with your human design, thank you so much. My beautiful husband brought me some water. Thank you so much. Commit for 2 weeks and really, see what happens. I know I kind of gave that piece, but it's so much fun.
Amazing. I love it. I see all the thank yous, all the love, all the hearts. Thank you so much, Raquel. Any final words of wisdom for our community?
I think the final words of wisdom is, on our journey, it's really about learning how to be yourself, learning how your uniqueness operates in the world. And if something's not working for you, it's not that there's anything that you are doing wrong. It's just that we each have a unique way to be. We have a unique purpose and a unique message in the world. And when you find that uniqueness, all the doors begin to open for you.
Beautiful. I love that. So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your light, your love.
Thank you. Thank you for all of your beautiful work. And thank you all for all your beautiful questions. And I just really appreciate
Love it. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you. All right. Everyone, I am so grateful for you being inside this beautiful event, sticking with us for 3.5 hours, asking amazing questions, being engaged, sharing your love, sharing your light. Such an honor to lead this event with you. My final key for this event is love. To activate our heart and to lead our businesses, love is the most amazing power that we have inside of us. To me, my business is love made visible. I want you to contemplate on this. And at the end of the day, it's all about really, giving and receiving love. That's what our business is all about. We're learning how to give love and we're learning how to receive love. So when you connect to your heart, really connect to that power of love. And you can ask those 2 simple questions, how would love show up today? How would love, what would love do in this situation? And the answer would be the right answer for you. All right, my beautiful people. So I am very happy for you being here. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your love. If you want to get a recording of this amazing event, here's the link to upgrade to a VIP and receive a lifetime access to the recording of the event. I invite you to join our workshop tomorrow, how to create and monetize your soul's work. This is going to be an epic workshop where I will take you to really unlocking your soul's gifts, and I will show you how to monetize them, package and position them. I will share with you how to take your 4D, 5D consciousness and really merge it with potent systems and strategies of this 3D business world reality. Okay, so the link is in the chat. If you have any final questions, it's time to ask them. You can unmute, you can say hello, you can ask any questions or share any feedback and comments. I would love to hear from you. I know for some of you it's late in the day. All right, beautiful. Well, if there are no questions or comments, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Rosabelle. Thank you, Cherry. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, John. Thank you, Tanra. It's amazing to have you inside this container. I hope to see you guys soon. And tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, join the workshop. You will gain so much from it. Okay? All right, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I receive your love. Thank you, Rosabelle. Thank you so much. Mwah. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes,
Bye.
you do. Thank you so
Bye.
much. It was wonderful.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, my friends. I'll see you soon. Bye.